ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special Goosebumps HorrorTown video. This is probably going to be the one and only video of this type that you're ever going to see, unless in some weird fashion in the future I end up getting this kind of opportunity again. But, yeah, more or less, I digress. So, you might be thinking, what is this? What do you mean by special features? Exactly, explain to me, right? Well, if you haven't read the description, or you understand this is a bit of a Christmas gift to you, the community, because I figured this would be a fun little video to kind of dive into not only how this event came to be, but how these kinds of games work and how they function and the kind of nooks and crannies that kind of come in here. Now then, you might be thinking, well, is this something that you can't do because of, non-disclosure agreements or stuff like that? Well, if you're seeing this video, that means that the good folks at Pixowl has approved this, and there's nothing wrong that I'm showing, because it's not like I'm showing you anything that hasn't been released yet. It's more or less just back-end stuff and kind of the secret stuff. You'll see what I mean by the end of the time. So, I'm going to be splitting this up into certain factions, or certain chapters, let's say. So if you're interested in one particular thing, you can jump into it by the description down below. I put 10 points on here. So, there's 4 going to be things here. The first is the introduction / story plot on how I got into the position where I was in making this event. The second is going to be looking at the the art document that I presented to the team in order for them to make the assets that's needed. So you get to see an example of what something like that would look like. And I'll go more in depth with exactly what kind of documents that the team here uses as far as how certain updates work. The third one is going to be something interesting, which is going to be reading some of the scripts I had made for this particular update as far as dialogue stuff goes. And it'll be very funny to see how I thought this event first things first, in poor naive Grim, before cutting it into the final thing. And you get to see exactly what was changed and what was edited. So, things that were highlights that you'll see are things that ended up changing or getting cut. So, again, you get to see like deleted scenes of, ooh, what would have been, right? So you get to some fun stuff like that. And the last but not least, the last thing in this clip is going to be a special recording of a video that I've done. And this particular recording is going to be a look at how do I describe this? Basically, because I had such an involvement with this update, I actually got a hand in the beta build of this update. So I actually have it both for Android and iOS, a copy of this particular event in the beta. I don't think it'll be able to do anything because of how their game works. But I have recorded it to kind of show you how they would do things and kind of give you an idea of when it comes to them testing events before it gets released, how that works. And also some fun things behind the scenes there. And that's about it. So yeah, this update is going to be somewhat interesting to kind of show you the ins and outs as far as things go. And we're going to go from there. So with that in mind, let's start with the introduction of how I ended up getting to this position where I'm at. So to make this part not so boring, I'm going to be putting some gameplay up on the stream here. Basically black and white. It just kind of like to keep it occupied so you're not really being bored with my document and description, but because this is basically just me talking here. So, let's talk about this. How did I get involvement in this position, or how did I get into this predicament in the first place? Well, let's start from the very beginning. So, how I got involved with the Pixowl team is simply that when I was playing their game, namely Goosebumps HorrorTown, there was a pop-up that kind of came up basically saying, oh, you've been picked as I think it said something along the lines of a community manager, click here. And it's a bad chase of wording, but basically, this is the only company that does this, as far as I know. But they take, if you click on this link, it'll take you to a page to basically sign yourself up. And what they do is that they'll actually take your email and basically accept you into a little group. And this little group is a special connection to the team as well as the community. So they end up getting some stuff where they end up getting some interesting what do you call it? Special features, special previews. They end up also getting a bit of voting, so they get to decide which is what's going to come up next and whatnot. So you get to see actually are interesting. So it ends up seeing exactly what we end up doing here, and that's a long story short. That's kind of like it. So I that's kind of got invited right during, and this was during I think the Halloween update. So there's that. So I didn't think much of it, but I ended up getting contacted with the director of the director program. I'm not sure what the job title is basically. It was exactly called, but they're the director of content. So their job is basically that they are in charge of every update, how to design it, basically making documentations. Basically, they're the ones who basically say, this is what I want this thing to look like, this is what it's going to be. So they're that's why they call them the director of content. So I got in contact with them. They sent me an email out of nowhere. I'm assuming because I started making videos on the game, and he was interested, and he was like, hey, if you ever have an idea of want to do an update or whatnot, you can always send me a documentation to kind of do that. Now, I was still kind of new to the whole group and community, so I was kind of like hesitant on doing that. So I'm like, I'm okay, thank you though, kind of thing like that. So, things kind of go over there. I was talking to the guy. He was nice. Eventually, he ended up leaving the group, I think on good terms. I think he was basically, I'm not 100% sure exactly. They don't go into details of exactly why people leave certain things because of, legal reasons, because it's between you and the company at the end of the day, unless they want to openly say, but, whatever. So, regardless of that, there's a new guy who kind of comes in. So, when he left, it was during the time when the last update was released, which was I think it was Welcome to Camp Nightmare. And the last update he ever had a hand in was the Mr. Wood update. Now, because of this, I believe this is why Mr. Wood doesn't have a book, was because of the fact that he didn't include anything of that, so they just kind of went with what they got. So that's why that update was kind of like all over the place in a sense, because there wasn't really a director. Fortunately, they had another director in mind to kind of take his place, so it wasn't too far behind. This guy was interesting. I ended up talking to him a bit. He seemed nice. Again, most of them seem nice, but as you would expect. But so he ended up talking to me and being like, I worked on this part of the game with Snoopy, and be fun to kind of make certain updates and whatnot. And we actually ended up getting his first update to kind of come up, and it was Please Don't Feed the Vampires. Yeah. Needless to say, that didn't turn out well. So he ended up doing the second one, which was Welcome to Dead House, and that one was a little bit better, but it's still kind of, So it was pretty obvious that I don't think he was the right fit for something like this, and he was already making updates before. But unfortunately, after the Welcome to Dead House, he ended up getting put back to where he was before, I think, because again, wasn't the right fit. Because those two updates, especially the vampire one, a lot of people weren't happy, and I think it was because they didn't understand what the previous one did and how that was whole thing. But I digress. You already seen the memes of that. I'm not gonna go too much in details. That's why I was kind of hesitant on certain things. That like, I know what was going on. And this was bad timing because this was also during the time when the new game was coming out, which was the Addams Family. So they had a lot of people doing that game. So there was not a lot of people on Goosebumps because of focusing on another game. So they had a problem, because now they have no director for this game. They're trying to get a new one, and he won't be available until the next year. So, we got that, and they have 4 other games doing stuff right now. Maybe more, actually, when I think about it, because they have Snoopy, right? So that's one of them. They had Goosebumps HorrorTown. That's another one. They had Wonder Park, because that was still going into an update and things like that. They had Loud House, so that's another one. Although they weren't addressed, they weren't advertised as being the creators. They are the creators if you look at the About Us. So they were the ones who also did that. And then also, there's the new Adams game. So they got 5 projects in the works. So you can tell how busy these people were. And they have no director for this content, so they're kind of like, oh, we have nothing. We don't know what we're doing, right? Now, the good news is, originally, after the... he was designing stuff for the Halloween update, which was the, Horrorland Carnival. And what ended up happening was, during this time, I believe he also designed something for the Alien Revolution. And originally what was going to happen was the update after the Dead House was going to go into the Squeezers. But for obvious reasons, after this whole thing, they hold that back. So instead, they basically hold it until November and post it there. So, in a way, they had at least 2 updates. So they had Halloween, and then they had this November. So they were like, okay, we're good. But the problem is they don't have anything for December. So around this time, they were also looking for a community manager for the Pixowl company. Now, I was talked to the main director of the company, as far as like the supervisor of supervisors, if that makes sense. And it was interesting because he ended up contacting me and being like, "Hey, you're into the community stuff. Do you want to be interested in doing this job?" And again, this was during the whole the vampire stuff. So I'm like, no, no, thank you. I was like, I'm pretty good, and like, thank you for thinking of me, but I don't think I have enough skills that will be available for this job that you're looking for, right? So I was like, okay, no, thank you. So there was that. But I said to them, if there's anything I can help you with, let me know. And then he's like, well, actually there is. How would you like to make an update for us? And that's when it was like, what, for December? And he's like, yes, for December. So this was during October, after the whole thing happened. Because I ended up thinking he ended up getting let go, depositioned sometime around October. So around this time, they were like, we need this update, because they do their updates ahead of schedule. So like, you would do an update. If you want to do something for Christmas, you have to get it done by October, because November is basically getting the assets ready and all the stuff, and then the actual update hits there. So that's how they kind of do it, right? So the 2 months, the second month is basically to do the thing. The first month, the month after, is all the assets and putting everything together, and then the month of, that's when the whole update kind of comes in. So all this stuff had to come into October. So, because of that, I ended up getting the opportunity to do a Christmas update. Because at this moment, I was into the community, and I was like, you know what? I like this game so much. Why not? Why not? This would be an interesting experience to kind of be the one guy who was able to kind of do something like this. Like, not a lot of people can say that. So, I ended up saying yes to it, and I decided to help him out. So he ended up telling me all the stuff that is needed in order to make this update kind of go through. And he ended up talking to me. Now, the guy in question, the person who is the supervisor director of the company, he's no longer there. He has his own company. He has his own stuff he's doing. Like, he has his own company now, so that's good for him. So the person who does it now is, I believe his name is Thomas. And he was previously the content director for the Adams, and he ended up getting promoted in 2022, so good on him. So I still had contact with him, so I'm still kind of in good graces, so it's kind of nice. But I don't know how long that's going to be until, because everything changes every year, so it's never really even this game, but I digress. So, anyways, this is when I ended up becoming into the whole world of how things were made. So I ended up learning about this. I ended up going ahead and trying to do certain things. And now comes the question of why did I go ahead and do this book for a Christmas update? Why not do the obvious 12 Screams of Christmas? And I'll be honest with you, the reason why I didn't do 12 Screams of Christmas is because I had no idea how I was going to pull that off. I read the bit of the book. I kind of understand what it was about, but I had no idea how to make that update work at all. So I was like, why don't I go ahead and do an update that I kind of knew that was going to be a good one? which was Shop Till You Drop Dead. So why did I think of that book? Well, because I read that book, I liked that book, and I knew certain elements in there that would work. Because when you think of the holiday seasons, basically Christmas time, a lot of it is commercialism, mainly shopping, like Black Fridays, the Boxing Day up in Canada, that's our Black Friday. The all the shopping, the special deals, the things that a lot of people think about when it comes to Christmas time around here is just more or less shopping and all that stuff. So yeah, that ended up becoming a thing. So I thought, well, I actually will make this work, and I figured I'll go more into details with all this stuff of what I ended up thinking of, so I'll hold that off. But basically, I decided to go with the Shop Till You Drop Dead. And I was happy that he ended up liking it. So he ended up deciding to tell me, yeah, most of everything is going to be used. There were some things that had to be changed, but I'll talk about that when we get there, and I'll explain the things that got added and de-added. And, if I had to do this nowadays, because I've learned through the other, the person who ended up becoming the content director for Goosebumps in 2020, I actually learned a lot more about a better process. So if I had to do it now, I have a better way of doing it. So I guess I would do that in that type of stead. But yeah, that's the long and short of how I ended up becoming into this position where weird circumstances and unfortunate events ended up leading to an opportunity that has never seen happen again. And I doubt it will ever happen again. But it was one of those rare chances, and certainly one of the more interesting experience. And because of this, it allows you, the viewers, to see what you're about to see next, which is a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. So I think that's about it for this this section of the video anyways. So why don't we go ahead and talk about some of the art assets here. So let's go ahead and do that. So now comes the fun stuff. So now we're going to be taking a look at the documentation, namely the art reference sheet that ends up coming in. So when I was told exactly how these events are work, there's 3 documents that is needed in order for this to work fine. And they do this in Google because, of course, it's easier for Google. Everyone can get a link to it, and they have all this stuff set up. So they end up doing a Google thing. And then they also can add permissions to say who can look at it and who can't. So there's that. So the 3 documentation that's needed in order to make an update work is the economy sheet, or the documentation, which is basically talking about certain elements of how much something's supposed to be cost, how long an event's going to be there for, who needs to get changed for what documentation, how long will an event, or how long will an update be, requests for what they drop, all that type of stuff. So basically the functionality of the events in the games, this is what this is for. I haven't had a touch in that because that's too scary even for me. So I decided to say nope to that. I did not want to touch that at all because I don't want it to end up being like Vampires 2.0. So I said nope, you can do that. So what happened there, I was like, why not leave it there? Okay. So, the second one is the dialogue slash the wordings of things. So basically how the when it comes to advertising, how that, what's supposed to be said, and they do it in different languages because, of course, Spanish is because they're in South America. They're living in, I believe, I'm trying to think of where they're from again, but their main language there is Spanish. Although their Spanish is a lot different than, say, Spain, or, I digress. Basically, it's Spanish regardless. So there's that. Then there's other stuff here, and things of that nature. And then the last thing, the one that's fun, is the art document. So what the art document is you give it to the artist. So this is the 3D artist, the 2D artist, the puppeteers, or, the AI people, as well as just any assets that needs to be drawn. And say, hey, this is what we need. This is what you need to draw for us. This is what I'm looking for. This is how it's supposed to look. So let me show you the thing I ended up doing for mine. So here you go. So this is what it looks like. To be 100% with you when it comes to this. Sorry. So when it comes to something like this, the one thing I will say is that Again, I would have done things differently, but this is like this is Grimm's first ever art document thing, so it's a lot more different. But I had to basically, they gave me examples from one of the previous ones of like how they did their art thing, so I ended up trying to copy and paste from them. Because, you know, it's like something you always do, right? Like, if you don't know what you're doing, you look at someone else's and you go, okay, let's just do this, copy paste, you know, kind of plagiarize in a sense. But it's okay because, you know, again, desperate times calls for desperate measures. But I digress. So, you know, Goosebumps HorrorTown, Stop Till You Drop Dead, and they got a little book there to kind of show you the list of contents there. So then it kind of gives you this type of stuff here, and these are supposed to link you to the certain areas, and then it goes more details with list of special buildings, items, decorations, whatnot, blah 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 blah. Not fun stuff, but anyways, special buildings. So again, these are going to be description here, but this is like, here's where you'll find event scenes, craft shops, and grand prize, and the new character's house, right? So that's what this is for. So first things first, the Spirit of Christmas House. And as you can see, this is how this works. So this is the name of what the building's supposed to be called, a reference to what this is supposed to be, an example of size, so basically in the grid, like how big this is supposed to be, a comment of basically what we're looking for. So in this case, it's an event building. Lights should turn on and off, maybe in 3 different sections, alternating randomly, perhaps some snow on and around the building. So this was a last minute thing. So here's something to fun fact. This was done by the head director. This was not done by me, because I had no idea that I was supposed to do something like this. Because again, the art asset I got an example of was the Attack of the Christmas Present. And if you remember, the middle part was actually for the grand prize. So, whoops. Had I known that was something that was needed, I would not do a house like this. Instead, what I probably would have done was I would made a probably some sort of like center, like a advertising, or like something that would be like what you see in a mall, right? You would see some sort of advertising or some sort of parking lot or something in the vein of that, like a middle section there. The one thing I will say to the director, which I'm so glad they ended up doing because this is so unique, is that this was the only event ever that allowed the characters or NPCs to walk on the promenade, because it put roads down there. So I thought, whoa, that's cool. So that's still cool to this day, so I love that. So yeah, the house seemed out of place, but you know, whatever, it works. So yeah, so there you go. So that's something there. So this is something I ended up doing, and this is something I'm proud of, the Mayfield Bazaar. And yeah, something else is that this side here is basically the end result. So the QA, after getting all this information, will bring in and go, hey, here's the asset at the end of the day. Is this good? Like, any comments that need to be made, any changes? You know, basically from the description here, this is what the end result would have been. So, building looks like Honest Ed's, colored more like a logo below, because I ended up growing up near Toronto, so I ended up seeing this building a lot, and I thought, oh, deals and crap, like, you know, something cheapy looking, obviously. Mayfield Bazaar, some crappy logo I ended up making real quick. Example, the mall logo color schemes that could be used. Sales, you know, examples of signs plastered on the mall building. Doesn't need the words, but it should look like a Black Friday sale is going on, so there. So, sorry. Anyways, this is the scare scene for this event. The mall should look like the Honest Ed building from Toronto for further reference. So again, gives you more if they need to know anything. Colors should use white, green, black, and gray. So they did a perfect job basically replicating this, especially the sign and everything like that. I thought this is perfect. This is what I feel Mayfield Bazaar should look like. It looks kind of crappy in a sense. The Mako Monster. Okay, so this was a this is a photoshopped of like Build-A-Bear Workshop, Krampus teddy bear, you know, kind of thing like this here, what they looked like, and then kind of go ahead and say building structure, outside look, roughly, and then it's like example design look for Krampus teddy bear. Again, I wanted to be more like a Krampus because that was the theme, was more Krampus stuff. But they decided to take that and said, "Oh, teddy bear. Oh, of course, the were-teddy from the movie." You know, I think this was a better idea, honestly, to get a thing. But yeah, to make a monster, again, a play on the Build-A-Bear Workshop, obviously. So this will be the crafting shop for the event. Building should look slightly like the Build-A-Bear workshop. The teddy bears should be replaced with more of a Krampus look. So I guess they looked at this and thought, oh, you mean like from the movie? Like the Krampus character bear thing? Yeah, we could do that. So that's what they ended up doing. And you know what? It works. It works fine. I love that. And then they kind of put like stupid board stuff up here and whatnot. So again, I gotta love the design teams who kind of do this type of stuff. Oh yeah, and then Reggie's Manor. So I gave an example of what I thought would look cool as like a rich kind of gothic looking house. So like buildings should look more gothic. Example, some gargoyles, some houses, and I look at how the building should look, basically like, but it's black. But they took this and said, yeah, let's just copy and paste it. So there. So again, so this would be the new character's Reggie Major Hills that he comes with. The picture provided doesn't need to be exactly detailed, but just look like what it is providing, which they kind of did. If possible, gargoyles should be added to the home, which they did, so that's good. The Mayfield shouldn't, the manor shouldn't need a Christmas look, and is fine with just snow on the roof and around the home, which they did. So, again, the reason why is because he's a Grinch. He doesn't like Christmas stuff. But honestly, when I think about it, all the houses in HorrorTown don't put Christmas decorations up. It's just snow. So, of course. Flexible with the colors of the house, but could have the same color design as the first house, or can be changed for green if need be. So again, that's just kind of like a rough of type of thing of like what they could probably do with that. Oh yeah, and the spirit of Christmas tree. Honestly, so this is the one thing I thought was kind of fun. They kind of did this here. So Christmas tree main body look like this. Somebody actually did this, which I thought was really cool. So I thought, yeah, you know what, this would be a cool Christmas tree to have, and they kind of implicated like this. Change the hat of the top hat with this look to match the color of the tree. Some examples of stuff on the tree here. So there you go there. So this will be the grand prize item for the event. This 3? Nice. Oh no, Grim, what did you do? See, look, I can also make mistakes too. I'm no better. I'm no better than anyone else. I'm an improfession amateur. Okay, a tree, not 3. This 3 should look like the images provided. Can give it more of a Christmas Carol look for the item, you know, because it plays on the spirit of Christmas tree name. Color of the tree can be black instead of the ghost white to help make this item pop out, which they did. Should give off a graveyard vibe, and they thought the graveyard vibe, and they're like, oh yeah, put a graveyard here. You know, it's like, okay, well you could have just used a tree, but nah, they decided to do this instead. So I was like, okay, whatever, it works. It works. Okay, suppliers. These are buildings that will drop items. If you need to know what items it drops, click on the economy sheet below. Link if required, and then link. So this was just something that I ended up adding here, and then the director would just add this stuff here. So I basically made it to seem like he would do this stuff, and then he'd add the little details later on. So, make a monster kiosk. I ended up looking around, and I actually saw this, which is a Make-A-Bear kiosk example. So this does exist. So they ended up doing it like this. So should look like the example provided, you know, so they made it more with the bear teddies. Inflatable Blasto Ape. Yeah, so ape designed from the invasion of the big screen. So why did I choose this here? Why did I choose the ape monster from here? Well, because of those random floatable monkeys, you know. Oh, okay. Thanks for not loading this here. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, thank you for loading finally, but you know, the example of the inflatable gorilla, you know, these things. I thought, you know, when you think of sales, you think gorillas, right? So the only gorilla I can think of is this one. So that's why the Blasto Ape is here. The only reason, because think gorilla. So, you know, building should look like the ape that is shown in the building title invasion from the big screen. So it looked like those inflatable gorillas you see in front of stores, which is exactly what I kind of did here. So that's the whole purpose here. Abandoned gingerbread house. I thought this was actually kind of cool to see. So apparently this was like a before picture, like how the building looks outside. But then later, someone actually came back to it a few years later, and it looks decrepit, like, you know, what it looks like, aged and abandoned. So they ended up taking that item and kind of doing this. But they ended up changing it and adding snow to it to kind of make it fit with the festive theme. And then it kind of has more of this here. Let's look at Gingerbread Man. So buildings should look like a gingerbread house that has been aged and unkept to the point of being abandoned. So they ended up doing a good job with that there. So next thing, tree for sale. Example of a Christmas tree lot, and then there's another one. Should look like this, the one shown here. And yeah, okay, so that was the only thing here. So anyways, buildings should look like the first example shown here, while the sign should have a Santa with a tree like the lower example, which they did here, which is actually kind of good. I actually like how they kind of said here, right? So it gives you some stuff like that. Decorations. These are new items that do not have any in-game assets to use. Alright. So Icy Willow. So trees should look like this, right? And then they end up actually coming across this weird looking tree. It's weird because apparently this is like nature, so this ended up happening and it made it look like a skull face, which I thought was kind of cool. And they ended up doing this here, which is great. Haunted tree that looks like ice formed on it like a willow tree, which they did a good job of. So, Frosty Blast Ride. So, basically, should look like the rolling ride here. So, the reason why I did this was because the last update, or update before, we had Horrorland kind of got added. So I thought, well, we need rides for Horrorland, and we need a Christmas theme, so why not? Frosty Land here. Right? Abandoned Santa statue, which I thought was kind of cool because to fit with the whole creepy, like, you know, I hate Christmas kind of thing. So, you know, kind of do something like this, aged. Creepy Santa statue sign that looked like it's been aged and unkept, which they kind of did a good job with kind of giving the green algae type of thing going on here. I don't know if it's algae or if it's some other thing like a moss. It could be moss actually, so, you know, that's probably what's going on here, so I do like that. Oh yeah, and then there's this. So I didn't say anything about this, but for some reasons the art asset people are kind of like, hey, why don't you do these creepy snowmans, right? Like, look at this. Look at these creepy snowmen. And my assumption of what they decided to do is they took assets from the game like Snoopy's Town Tales, and then decided to be like, well, we want to make it creepy, so I know, let's just put the coal all over the place and make it look like it has multiple eyeballs. So it's like, you know, more items. It never got used, by the way, but they ended up making the assets, so there you go. Sometimes that happens, right? They make assets for stuff and it never gets done. So this could have been the director who kind of decided that, and it was like, yeah, I don't know the full context of that. I just saw that and was just like, oh, okay. Gingerbread couple. So real life decoration here, and then they decided to do it over here. So, you know, look like description. Okay, so the next one, the snow globe. So I need to talk about this, how this ended up coming to being. So, okay, so this is what I did. I said, you know, snow globe should look like the inside here, the guy glowing. So this is the thing. So that's the whole point. That's what they kind of did here with the thing here. Base of the globe looks like the lower Krampus. So this is from the movie Krampus, of course, the bell, if you ever seen the movie, and of course the actual poster, the claw, the hand, and possible holding the globe. So I did not explain this properly. So what I wanted to happen was I wanted the hand to kind of hold it in the base bottom there, like, you know, kind of like you would see, like, the bottom is the holding, like the base is the hand holding the actual base thing. So that was my idea. That's what I was thinking of, but I didn't explain it properly. So what ended up happening was they took this and thought, oh yes, hand decapitation, holding it there, and like, oh, okay, sure, fine, we'll make it work. It's my fault. I didn't explain it properly. So this is the hand we got. I said hand. So they gave me the decapitated hand. Okay. This item will be unique for the Reggie bundle. That was the original idea, but I think they ended up doing something else with it. I think they ended up making it as an item you can get. You know, because I thought, oh, you need an item that can entice people to buy the bundles. So anyways, this snow globe should have a winter clothed figure inside with a claw hand holding it. If the claw can't be done, normal globe is fine. So that was the idea, was the globe base. You know how like there's a base like this? I thought the hand would do that, but whatever. They ended up doing what I said, so whatever. Alright, rework decorations. So the rework decoration bit. So what was this? So because they had so many stuff there, I wanted to try to do stuff that was kind of like give them new things without having to add too many stuff there. So I thought rework certain things could actually work fine. So one of these is the Holly Street Lance from Snoopy's Town Tale, because that was the only other game that could probably do this stuff here, right? So I got help. The director ended up putting the assets in here because he had access to it and I didn't. So we work from the holiday street lamps that was used for Snoopy's Town Tale. change design and color slightly to the pole design shown. Should look like a lamp used for HorrorTown. And they ended up doing 2 designs. They had one that's kind of like weirdly crooked, and then they had another one that was like, you know, straight. An example of a pole design. So I think they ended up going with the crooked one, which I thought was a really good design because it's like, oh yeah, this is creepy. This is creepy and also cool. So, you know, it fits well. Oh, okay. So I need to talk about this. So, the HorrorTown sign. So you might be thinking, what the example of the HorrorTown? Why is it called the HorrorTown sign? Because originally it was supposed to look like this, right? It's supposed to be like, "Welcome to HorrorTown." That was the whole idea, right? So I thought, let's take the designs here, and they actually ended up doing a good job here because, you know, I ended up, I thought, you know, skull flowers could use in the game. This is what I was thinking of, the welcome to signs, right? You see, and I thought, okay, cool signs here, welcome examples, type of stuff here, right? Okay, so this is what I said for it. The billboard should be reused a bit of the Wonder Park version, top half only. No need for the bottom flower bed. Redesign the sign to bear the logo we use for the game. If possible, make it look like a welcome to sign. If not possible, it can just be a billboard advertising. This last bit here, billboard advertising, that's what ended up happening, and I'll tell you why exactly. Colors should be fit with the logo and should be lookout date light bulbs, not working overgrown. Use skull flowers, dead trees, or any sort of plants in the game to replace around the sign, which they end up doing a good job here. So you might be thinking, why didn't they do this that I designed here? Well, that's because, and this was something I didn't think about until someone made a comment on this back in November 29th of 2019. Someone made a comment, and this is what they said. For future reference, we should not ask for decorations that include legitimate text, since this will go wrong the moment the user decides to flip it. And I'm like, oh, alright. I forgot. They don't make an asset set for them to flip it. What they do, they mirror it. So they mirror it to go backwards. And because of that, what you'll see is the logo will end up screwing around. A good example of this is we have to look at the HorrorTown kiosk, which I'm going to show down below. It ends up flipping it backwards and stuff. It's dumb. So they ended up changing it to actually make it more of the advertising for the event. So, you know, a happy accident, but oops. I learned my mistake. That was a noob's mistake, but, you know, again, lesson learned. But there you go. That's why it was called the HorrorTown sign, was because of that. You know, so good on me. Right, so continuing on. Oh, speaking of, the Goosebumps kiosk sign. So, newspaper kiosk from the Snoopy's Town Tale game. You got the Goosebumps logo, and of course, some examples of Goosebumps stuff. So they ended up doing a good job. They basically did a good job making it look more... Like, they basically took the asset from here and said, okay, make it creepy. That fits Goosebumps to the T. Just put that there. Alright, so this is what I said. Use the newspaper kiosk and theme it to fit the Goosebumps brand. I can use the color for our game to help. The top roof should either have the Goosebumps logo or the G associated with the books. Of course I did. Replace papers with some Goosebumps books, which they did. Again, I really love this, and apparently I loved watching KC's video. I'm sure a lot of people did the same thing, where they like, ooh, Goosebumps kiosk, I want that, you know, because again, anything with the Goosebumps branding, people were like, ooh, I want that. So that's why I decided to put that in there, because I thought, oh, in-game stuff, make it the Double Dragon game in the Double Dragon movie kind of thing. It's just like, oh, Inception here. I'm reading Goosebumps and Goosebumps. It's like the never-ending story. It's like, I'm reading the book. That's me. Another weird one, an interesting one, basically taking this here, the mistletoe garden swing, and it is basically just make it creepy, make it look like Goosebumps, and they kind of did a good job. Basically age it slightly, whatever. Another one, Pepper Tormere, this here, and just kind of change it to make it look colorful. I guess they changed it a bit more, so it's not really the same design, but it kind of uses the same assets, if that makes sense. And then at the end here, they kind of take a picture of the wintry background. Rest in peace. I still want to see you in game, but I'll never get to see you, apparently. So it gives all the assets and kind of give an example look of everything. And then also the snowman that we never got to have. But, you know, it gives you an idea with all the sizing and how everything should look to kind of be like, is this good? Is this good? Yeah, good? Okay, cool. Alright, here comes the fun stuff. Animations. This will have all the quests need animation to work for the event. If you need to know what it drops, please see the link below. which is link if required, which they did a link here. So this is the walking animation for Reggie, which is basically a normal walk. Now, something I'm going to point out, that this is something that you'll probably may have noticed but not have, but if you notice here, this is Reggie dressed normally, but for some reason when he changed his back, they forgot the white part, so it ended up becoming a short sleeve versus a long sleeve when he changed his back. So oopsie daisy. There's the thing for him fleeing. You know, again, we got the scared, so this is what he looks like when he's scared for both angles, depending when he gets, you know, like any character. This only works if a character can get scared. If they don't need the scaring and fleeing animations, but usually most of them do, because, you know, they're like, ooh, you know, you can scare from other monsters. They got the monster here, which I thought was really good. I love the weird look they decided to give him here, but it works fine. Again, something you'll notice is that the person who designs these assets is not the same as the person who designs the actual artwork for the dialogue and the actual official character description, if that makes sense. And then, of course, the chasing, which you got this stuff here, which actually looks kind of good. And Reggie's quests. Okay, so here are some things here. So we got take a business call. Then we got the make it rain, and then we got the get the beast present, watch blank for moment reference. I guess just because for some reason I wasn't able to show the I guess the gift in question, put it here, so I decided to link it instead. So it gives you an as set ideas with them walking here. Then you got the money here, and then you got this here. And you might also notice this when it says stuff like human moving side, both code, business call. So this is just stuff to kind of put the names of for here to kind of for coding issues or whatnot. But anyways, 3 quests, animation quests for Reggie. So one of them is take a business call. We'll have Reggie walking around talking with a brick phone on. And the reason I said brick phone was because A, it shows it better, and B, this was supposed to be the 90s if, so you know, back then you got the brick phones. Right? Should have an idle animation when he stops and looks around, walking and wondering how much longer it'll take. So basically he did this here, right? So they kind of sit here and talk. They kind of did a good job. Make it rain, we'll have him walking around with the green money. So basically, this had a styling here, which is a lot better, which is him just shooting money, you know. And of course, get the beastly present. So the reason why I said this was because I wanted an animation, like, because in case we never got the scene ever again, well, I want an animation where you got to see him with his creature form. So this is what I ended up doing was, you know, get the beastly presence. So this is him in the monster form walking around with the present. So I ended up working that within the dialogue, so it would make sense to why he does this, right? So, you know, kind of in there. My end in this, the Santa Quest, the Jingle Bell Rock, because of course, you know, it's cool Santa. So they did a good job with making Chris, because you know his whole story was that, oh, the poor me, I want to be a bass player, a rock, like I want to do music. I don't want to be a Christmas small Santa. So I thought, why not do something like that? And what you'll see in the next part with the dialogue is that I had an idea with Chris in mind with his narrative, and I'll explain more on that. But yeah, basically, he should be in his Santa suit, playing on the guitar, wearing some sunglasses on, like it's like the image provided. So you know, like that there. So it kind of gives you that. All right, so this one, the scheming new sales. So the reason why I decided to do this was because I thought this would be appropriate for Sata to kind of do this kind of move, the kind of like, yes, money, you know, the Mr. Burns kind of thing. And we never had an animation with his monster form, so I thought this would be a perfect way to do it, right? To have his monster form kind of doing something like this, because, you know, it fits, right? You know, basically rubbing his hand together to look suspicious as if he does, you know, like what he is. He's like suspicious, like, ooh, yes, right? Then we have the Mrs. Dark's shopping around quest, which is self-explanatory. I love the fact that 2020, this was the animation they loved using a lot. It's like, yes, Mrs. Dark just shops around, because why not? Let's just have her shop, because with the Christmas presents. That was the whole idea. It was just like, she's shopping for Christmas presents, you know, to kind of give the whole idea here. Mortman's quest of doing this, basically making a list. they ended up reusing this asset a lot in 2020, which I actually thought was interesting. But yeah, they ended up doing a good job with what I described here, with him basically kind of like writing and then idling, thinking, going like, thinking like, maybe I should, they didn't do the thought bubbles, but they certainly gave the look of like him thinking about it and kind of writing stuff down. Look at all the stuff he wants, greedy man. Then we got the Lucy quest with her reading with her teddy bear here. I just decided to do something cute. And originally what was supposed to happen is her sitting on a bench normally, right? But the art animation or asset or the location, I don't know what happened, but it ended up having her sitting on the bench weird. And you'll see it, like you see it in the quest lines. And I thought, okay, well, all right. Sure, Lucy, let's just have you sit like that then. Okay, but yeah, it's kind of cute that they did this. I thought, oh, okay, yeah, researching Christmas Teddy, because I thought, because at some point they read a book, so I thought, okay, let's have something cute. They had it there. Dustin's quest, because of the whole them shopping or getting decorations and whatnot, I wanted something to fit with the whole theming here. So this is the hunting for decorations stuff. So I decided to say, an idea of how the Christmas wagon stuff would look like with the assets, them walking around, kind of like doing this, which he did with the Easter hunting animation with her walking, and then of course the wheelbarrow that Mr. Wood is using. And of course I used my screenshots because this was the best way I could do that. And then basically I said, him picking up ornaments on his idol, but they never did that, but whatever, it works for what it is. Oh yeah, the Courtney's quest. So I wanted, because Courtney was a part of the whole, I thought it would be perfect to have her kind of be in this quest line. I'll explain a little bit more later on, because I thought she would, to have her be part of this. But, I thought, have her kind of do something cute. What's funny is that they never had an idea where should she do this for, so they decided to say that, oh yeah, the tree for sale, let's have her do it in front of that. It looked weird, but whatever. I never thought of that. I thought she would just do it in front of something like a snow, but whatever. She just does that, so I thought it'd be fun. Oh yeah, the scare animation. So this is talking about the aforementioned dummies that we got going on here, and this is also talking about Sater's or Reggie's animations here. So kind of talking about the Reggie being a premium character. And the animations, and I used the magical stitches because this was the only dummy thing we had available, so I thought we need to make it look. So what I told them with this was I wanted them to use the assistant as an example, but I wanted to be more exaggerated. Like, I wanted it to look different and show that these are just crazy, and they did a good job with actually showing them being not 100% there. There's better pictures down below that I'm going to show you with when they designed these characters, and I thought this would be great. So, okay. So, here's where all the new characters will go, containing walking around Reggie, his monster form for his scare scenes, and new spawns, and the mall mannequins. So, so you might be wondering what I did for Reggie's reference, so, here he is. There he is. So, I randomly I decided to look older teen wearing a white suit, green suit, like above. So what ended up happening with this was when I thought the name Reggie, it kind of reminded me of Reggie Fils-Aimé, the previous North Americans Nintendo of America president. So I thought, okay, he should be, and I thought, well, Bazaar, you would usually find a Bazaar in somewhere in East area. So I thought, okay, maybe Indian. That'll work. It makes a sense. Why not? And so I decided to find a stock photo, as you can see, because again, this is all for reference. They're not using any assets for this type of stuff. And I thought, okay, well, we need to explain how to put this shirt. So what I ended up doing was I found someone wearing this shirt, right, this green shirt. So I decided to cut all the stuff off, and he'll fit it on top of this other guy's clothes, just to give an idea. So this is my bad Photoshop, just to show this is what I want the look, and they did a good job, perfectly, exactly. This is exactly what I was thinking of when I thought this is what I want him to look like. So this is my description of Reggie. All right, so Reggie should look like he is in his late teens, early adults. Kinda does. Can use reference to Greg's height and size for his game for counterpart. That's probably why, because I said that. From India, has black hair, looks well kept and rich, wears glasses. Of course, they did that there. Wears a white suit and a green vest and tie, black pants and shoes to match. Image shows him with the wristwatch, but can be removed if need be. So they didn't add a wristwatch, but he kind of had this kind of like professional, like, oh, I'm doing my shirt up kind of thing, which is actually kind of nice. And you might be wondering why I decided to do green and white. Well, this looked really nice, and the other reason is because green is money, so greed. So I thought, okay, yeah, let's do that. Should give off the look as the image provide here. Make him look smug yet professional, but you can tell he's been spoiled as a child. So, again, descriptions of trying to talk about certain things there. And then we get to his monster form. And there it is. There's his final result of the monster form. But the reference I used, the reference provided of the book of the Reggie form looking like. Now, I might be mistaken, but in the book, I don't think Reggie looks like this in the description. What usually ends up happening is that when the artists for R.L. Stine's book, they end up doing a cover art for it. They do multiple cover arts, and they kind of get a short description of like, yes, my book is about this, and you know they might have some monsters or something like that. So then they base that and kind of go, okay, let me design it like that. Maybe the monster could look like this, right? And then the monster looks exactly nothing like it's supposed to be. Or in some examples, you get stuff like Say Cheese and Die, where they end up being a cool cover. So, and then R.L. Stine had to shoehorn that image in somehow, so it's not out of place. But yeah, so I think in the monster he was orange, or I might be mistaken, but he doesn't look like this that he's described here. But to keep it fitting with the theme and to make it look close to the cover art, I decided to have him be exactly like that. And I thought purple is a great contrast to green, I think. And it also kind of has that Krampus look, which is what I was going for, because as you can see here, I also said this is an example of like the ripped clothes. So I had some weird kid in the werewolf costume because, you know, and then of course I did this here, the tongue and horn reference. So basically just the Krampus. So this is what I described for Reggie. Reggie's monster form should look close to the one provided from the book of the same name, and I gave the name again because somebody forgot what they were reading. Book body should be the same size compared to Saber's. They ended up making him bigger, so whatever, it works. Color furs should be purple, eyes turn green, which it did. Sharp tooth grin. Could have his tongue out to resemble the Krampus look, and also horns. So they didn't do the horns per se, but they did a good enough job with the spikes of the hair to kind of give the kind of horn look. So, and it gives it true to the image here. So, you know, I'm not too bothered by that. I just kind of thought, okay, let's have him. And then I said also vest and shirt open in the middle, shirt formed, shirts, forearms ripped, glasses on, bow tie, hand. So, you know, I described this, but they kind of took the inspiration from what I said and just kind of did this here. So, you know, pretty decent, I would say. And also, they kept the Krampus look by giving him goat feet. So, yeah, I'm not too bothered by that. So they ended up incorporating all the stuff in some weird way. Okay, the mall mannequin. So this is funny. So female mannequin seen in the Goosebumps of the game. So this was basically what they used reference for the games thing here. Examples, type of mall uniforms mannequins can be seen wearing. So this is both a boy and girl, kind of fit with the Reggie stuff there. And then I also said the sale sign tags here. So, I love the end result because they ended up doing exactly what I thought, and it actually shows the creepiness to the mannequins that make no sense. So, the mall mannequins will be the spawn of the players will activate at the new event scene, the Mayfield Bazaar. They should look like ones provided in the Goosebumps game scene. So, I was talking about this here. So, they ended up making them look different, but, you know, it works. They should look, yeah, I already said that, sorry. If possible, to dress them up to look like mall workers' uniforms provided here. White shirt, green vest, a tie, and pants, no shoes. So they end up doing that exactly, which is great. Because it works for both ways. Because this is something you can buy off of them, but it also gives off the creepy, like, oh, there are people working, right? If possible, have the sale tag on them or look like they are wearing clothes that should be used for sale, which they did. Worst case, just have the mannequins as they are without clothes. Use magical assistance as a reference for them. So they ended up doing a good job with actually making them look crazy, which is something I wanted. So this was actually something that, so I originally didn't add this because I thought, you know, I didn't want to add too much, but he decided to add this in here because he thought this was a cool idea, which I'm grateful that he did because this would work perfectly. My only downside is I've never actually had, oh god, my little girl's freaking out, sorry about that. Regardless, sorry. My only regret is that I didn't have a scene, like a spawn monster for the bags. If anything, they would probably be just like the presents from the Attack of the Christmas Presents stuff. So they'd be walking around kind of doing that. You know, it would be cool to have them kind of be characters, but they're not. But whatever, they work. But anyways, the Heart Attack backpack should look like the backpack with the face on it. The zipper should show pointy teeth. Small zippers, small. The zipper should open so it looks like they want it to eat. And this is something he adds. We need a portrait of this. So there's a reason why they decided to say we need a portrait of this, and it makes sense later on. So we go on here, and of course there's the in-game thing they ends up using for in the dialogue. All right, so now items, craftable items. So I'll try to go through this creepy. So creepy reef looks something like this. Basically, the idea of a creepy reef. Basically to fit with HorrorTown, sorry, the vibes there. So I kind of gave an example of some creepy reefs that they could use, which they actually did a good job there. Santa toy bag. I thought, okay, let's just have a weird bag to kind of put all the Christmas stuff in, or kind of, you know, ideas for Christmas decorations they would use to grab in there. The Christmas card. Okay, so the Christmas card, I ended up doing this because I wanted a little nod to the fact that a lot of people were like, oh, is 12 Screens of Christmas going to be the next update? No, it's not. So this was my way of saying I'm sorry. So I ended up doing this. So this is why this item's here, if that makes sense. So then we have the hardcore candy. I believe, I'm not 100% sure if I did this or this was something that I believe the art director I believe this was something the art director added. So, you know, pretty good. It kind of fits with the whole scary, spooky thing. I love this. The gingerbread monsters that I ended up convincing them to make was, so I just like, oh, here's the mud monster for an example, and then here's what you can use as shape of this weird toy that exists. So they ended up doing that and kind of making gingerbread monsters, right? Which was kind of good. Oh yeah, this. I love this. So I wanted to do something with more Goosebumps theme, so I thought, oh, Goosebumps board game. So I thought Terror in the Graveyard looks great, right? So I thought, okay, do this. So what did they do? They go, like, they copy, paste it, put it, boom, there. Perfect. It looks exactly like it does. But, you know, it works because exactly what I was thinking, what I wanted. So, you know, more fitting with the lore. Of course, you can't have the heart attack backpack because that was part of the thing in the game, you know. So, again, this was a really real-life image you can get. And I thought this is perfect because it got the eyes, this can be the mouth. You know, so they did the same thing here, except they basically took the image and just kind of cut it up, so it works. Oh, the weird teddies. Okay, so all right. So this is something I thought was funny because I literally took a Tickle Me Elmo, right? I put the Bayfield Bazaar logo on here, and then they decided to put the weird creature toy from Krampus movie, and decided to put it in here. Right, as a like, this is what I was looking for, this is what I want, and they ended up doing exactly what I said here. So, should look like the Teddy Minion from the movie Krampus. Again, more of Krampus theme, right? So that's why, again, there's more of it in there, which I'll explain more in a bit, but you get the idea here. The Tickle Me Out. So basically, it's just kind of like trying to fit the Where Teddy Tickle Me Teddy Bear, you know. Again, look at that happy face. And I said to wear Teddy because I thought that would be kind of interesting to kind of make it creepy. And it does. So, you know, there's that. The vampire doll. The vampiric BB doll. I don't know why it's a BB, but okay. So, again, this is actually real life of Sally doll that from Nightmare Before Christmas comes in the coffin, which is good. Got the vampiric, so they basically took that and kind of fit this there, which actually works. And apparently comes with a mirror so that you can see, oh, look, it doesn't see itself. Ooh, it's a real vampire doll. Spooky. I love the little design. Actually, no, you know what it is? It's supposed to be seeing the doll when it closes the door, but I think they basically look at this and said, okay, copy paste. You know, again, whatever you give them reference for, they will try to make it look sense, but you know, it ends up working out really well, which I actually like. So, and because I ended up doing the Blaster Wave chimes from before, I decided to go like, all right, why don't I have a Blaster Wave chimes with the creepy monkey toy, right? Another one, right? So I was like, okay, make it Christmas themed though. So there you go, get the creepy monkey. Make it. This looks even worse because this is like, okay, this is creepy, right? But look at this. This is even worse. I love this. This is the best. So again, creepy chime thing there, and then the Santa stuff. Okay, so okay. All right. So this next item. So this next item, the Laugh-O-Matic Trap. So Playboy Vampire, who you know in the community, who does a lot of artwork for this game that I like to show off, he made a post on Reddit saying that, just so you know, I think the team might have actually used my idea for this item because I drew this, right? So he showed a creepy hand coming from a box, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. This is a coincidence because I didn't do that. So, just for you, if you're watching this, this is what I did instead. So this was this was my inspiration. This is what I did. So what I did was I took a Christmas present with the confetti coming out, right? So I ended up taking a monster hand, adding a spring, like photoshopped it in there, kind of coming out. And then I drew happy faces crappy happy faces on there to kind of give off this. So this is what they end up doing, which is great. I love this, that they actually took the inspiration of my photoshopped edits and decided to make it into actually something that works out well. And the reason why this is the Laugh-O-Matic, like the reason why, the hands tickle, like will tickle you, and the confetti kind of, again, it makes sense because of the story, because of one of the ways. I think I've described this many times before, but if you read the book, you know. So I thought that would be perfect. I love this. I ended up doing this, kind of doing the Make-Feel Bazaar, and then kind of do the creepy stuff. And what's funny is that my little logo I made, it's in the game now. There it is. So they ended up doing it, and you can't really see the Mayfield Bazaar very much because it's small. But yeah, that's the logo. So they ended up doing exactly like this. So it's kind of cool. So this is something too. So this was added after the fact. This was from the director. I think his name was Pedro. So this is what he did. So he ended up having the item big refund. So this was an idea that I didn't think of, but it ended up becoming a thing, which is adding this item, where basically return all the toys. So this was the big craftable item because I didn't make that. So this actually works out well, right? That they did there. And what's funny too is that you may have noticed we just came to the end of this, and you might be remembering, wait a minute, wasn't about that shop till you drop hypnotizer thing? Well, that was a surprise to me too, because that got added into the game out of nowhere. So that was a last minute decision thing that they decide to do, and they ended up changing wording for that as well. So yeah, there you go. I had nothing to do with that. That was something he added. So again, it makes it work for what, but see, the majority of the stuff I made was in the game, and he added a few little things here and there and changed some things, but for the most part, it's there. Event currency. So this is something I've regretted that I didn't do. Had I known this, I would have changed it differently, because he decided to make it a crisp, because I didn't do this, so this was something Pedro did, so this was like an ornament kind of doing this. Problem is, and I don't think he realized this, back in 2018, when we did the Attack of the Christmas Presents, the icon, the craftable currency, that was actually a Christmas ornament. So this one's a little bit different compared to that one, but it's still a Christmas ornament. Had I known I needed to do this as an art asset, I probably would have done something differently. My thought process is something like a gift card or something to do with shopping in a sense, right? Like a receipt or something kind of like Christmassy or something different that would make sense. But yeah, there you go. Another ornament there, unfortunately. But you know, it works. It's slightly different compared to the other one, but still, it's kind of like I wish that was something else. And then another thing he ended up doing here, which is talking about how the event should look as far as the decorations and stuff like that. So this is what he wrote here, which is to the right of the event title with some superpositioning on the title, we could have the shopping cart full of gifts, bags, and toys, not groceries. The shopping cart should look like it's racing and should have some cartoony indication of speed, preferably curved like it just turned around. The speed lines could wrap around the right side of the title. The heart attack backpack should be featured prominently either on top of the shopping cart or maybe near the handle to give the impression that he's driving it, or elsewhere in the title, and should have some sort of expression, maybe goofy with open mouth, tongue out like he having a great time. I love that. I love that description. I don't think they ever did that, but they ended up doing something with it. But again, if that was the case, I would have loved seeing that as the event style. But they ended up working with what they did. So that in the nutshell, that is the art style. That's what I decided to do for the art stuff. So there you go. So now I think what we're going to be doing is we're going to go to the next step, which is the special deleted scenes, the what could have been as far as description goes. So be on the lookout for that. It's going to be right about now. Here comes the fun part. This is where I get to talk about the deleted scenes of sorts. So this is the dialogue that didn't get in for first. So there are two things. The first one is going to be basically what I started off with, and then at the end is basically what was going to be a final cut. So this was the official one before the end, and then you get to see what's been cut from that and what ended up being official. So, just to explain, what you see, I'm going to talk about this, but anything that's highlighted are things that ended up changing. Anything that is not highlighted has been kept in the story previously without any change. So you get a good idea exactly how this whole thing was going to be. So let's just see the first part. So we're going to take a look at the first thing, the official, the Shop Till You Drop Dead quest line. And it seems like the same thing here for first a little bit, you know, like say, you know, Star 5, however, whatever that. But the one thing that's changed, it's Curly is like, so get yourself comfy, player, and settle down as I tell you what happened in HorrorTown. And then, of course, it's like, wait a minute, are you rhyming? So then it's changed. Slappy then to say, Curly, I demand you not to continue if it means you will be speaking in rhymes. And it goes, you see, player, I've always tired of making these stories funny, even if it means annoying the dummy. So then it's like this, and of course then it's just changed to, you know, what I previously said. Here's the story entitled Shop Till You Drop Dead. So you can see what changed. So they took this and then they kind of placed this near here. Like, again, I'll show you what ended up happening. But anyways, you know, like over here. But anyways, we continue on. This part still stayed the same. Nothing really changed as far as, you know, things have gone for the second part. Here's where it's changed in the third part. So this is when the townspeople are talking, like investigating what's going on. Walter comes in here and he's like, there is no way this mall would have everything in it. Could it? And the reason I had Walter in there is because, you know, he had, what do you call it, Fred Pharmacy, which is like the Quickie Mart of the place. And of course later on, Quest, and then Walter comes back. There's a lot of stuff here, but nothing you can find in from my store, you know. So, yeah, but it's still same thing with Dark, Reggie, Mortman, Mar, same thing here. And then you go over here, this part with the kids finding out what's going on, same thing here. So nothing's really changed. Here's something interesting. So this beginning got cut, and you'll find out why later on down in the bottom, because there's been other quests that ended up getting cut fully, and those are the interesting ones. So, in the beginning, this is what it was originally. As the children of this town were busy with their scheming, Courtney King was just awaking from her dreaming. And then Courtney's like, ugh, what a nightmare. I dreamt that me and Will were heading to some big building. Next thing I know, I'm here. I think Will and I were supposed to meet up near the mall today. However, I get this sense of deja vu, like it already happened before. I'm probably imagining things after all. It was just a dream, right? Again, you'll find out why this is the case later on down below, you'll be like, oh, I see why. So, this whole thing got changed near the end because the things got cut. So then the same thing here, Megan, can't talk, get money, buy new clothes. So then here comes the new stuff. So this whole thing got cut. This whole thing got cut. And this is why. Okay. This place, Mayfield Bazaar. The whole empty lot, the inflatable gargoyles holding sale signs, the mannequins with cheap clothing tags. This is giving me the whole feeling. It's coming back to me. Then Courtney's like, I wasn't dreaming. I've been here before. With Will. Oh no. Wait, that looks like... Will! Will, are you alright? What's going on here? And then this is when Will's basically in his werewolf form, hypnotized in a sense. Must protect grounds. No kids. Guard them all. Well, it's me, Courtney. What has gotten into you? What's going on here? Right? And then Quest. And then... And here's the other thing, too. You would know that this is not, like, my whole thing. Because if you look at here, there's, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these. Now, the thing is with... when it comes to quest lines, it's 6 minimum. Like, you can count them all... you can count the past, and you'll know that there's no more than 6. So, again, I'm new to this, so I had to cut things short and kind of change things around. But, first time, not so bad, but the story is kind of interesting. But anyways, after the quest line, then it comes here. Will, snap out of it. You're talking crazy. Why are you ignoring me? Then Reggie comes in. I'm so sorry, Miss King, was it? But Will here's just being hired as my head of security for the new mall. He's been really good at keeping the peace. Don't you agree? And then she's like, what did you do to him? He never acted like this. And then he's like, me? I didn't do anything. Will here came on his own and wanted to get you a special something that he didn't have the money for. So I offered him a job for the gift. Isn't that nice of him? Will was right. You are dangerous. Or dangerous. Again, this is a rough, so this would have been fixed properly, but it is just quick mind. So the bad grammar. I'm no better. No one's better with this stuff. So this is a rough. So that's my excuse. This never got in. So screw it. This is why I'm here reading it to you. All right, I'm getting out of here. The gargoyle, the inflatable gargoyle, by the way, pop in. Do you wish for me to get her back inside the mall, sir? And he's like, that won't be needed. Besides, I already have what I wanted from her anyways. And with the kids going around obliviously taking those Christmas decorations down, this town will be under my control. Then he goes to Lucy, basically the same thing here, blah, 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 whatever there. And then, of course, get to the quest, it comes here. And the only thing that got changed was Courtney's line because, what's worse is that he's gotten Will under his spell. He's using him like some kind of guard dog. Alright? That had to get cut because, of course, that no longer became the case. Again, interesting kind of thought process I had in mind, but then I'll show you the end result. Alright? So anyways, we go over here, and this is the interesting thing. As the two girls ran home... Curly comes back, sorry. As the two girls ran home to get their supplies, Marty ends up to find out a rather nasty surprise. Again, I gotta love my weird rhyming thing. So then Marty's like, alright, I'm gonna go get that going ape in Blastovision figure from the store. I just need some supplies. Hey, Zader can help me out. He's always has something in his store I can use. Then he goes to, hey Zader, you have anything that's on this list here? I'm getting my grandma a present. That's it. Then he looks at it, he's like, Christmas lights, candy canes. Man, whoever wrote this must really be bad at writing. Yeah, I'm the one to talk. However, I think I might have some of the stuff you're looking for. And then he goes there. So, what's with all these stuff anyways? Making your grandmother a Christmas deco? And then Marty's like, nah, I'm trading them for a doll for my grandma. For that Mayfield guy. By the way, Mayfield spelled wrong. Again, I spelt it wrong. Wrong. That's not how you do it. It's F-I-E-L-D. Whatever. It's rough coffee. It doesn't exist. Alright, quest happens. Next pile. Satyr. Mayfield? You mean Mayfield's son? The one who owns the new mall? I better be careful with that guy if I were you, kid. And then Marty's like, yeah, he already told us that there's some monster junk running to shops or something, right? And again, Seder gets involved, Santa gets involved, Will gets involved, and then also there's Slappy's quest that gets involved. So there's like 4 different quests that got cut out for some reason. Obviously because too much stuff, Grim, too much. But this is why I make it this here, so that way you get to listen to this stuff and see where my headspace was. What could have been if I had the manpower and the money to do it. Anyways, I wouldn't know what the quest would be, but regardless. Anyways, Seder's like, monster? Oh no, there wasn't any monsters. There's a bunch of people in stores, and a lot of mannequins inside, serving people. And then he's like, wait, he lied? No one made Marty Ricardo look like a fool, even if it's some rich snob brat like him. I'm gonna get paid back with my monster skates. Now I'll scare him. The callback to, last Christmas. Hey, wait, didn't you want your... And he's gone. Man, that mall has been nothing but trouble for my business lately. Right? Then you go over there. Then it goes to the whole, oh wait, is that Marty kind of quest line? And then he's like, Fear's like, Courtney, sorry. He's like, what is that idiotic boy doing now? But then later it's the same thing here. Right? Then here's the thing here. So it's like, I did no such thing. I said there were monsters in here, and here they are, shopping. Oh. Oh, God. My headspace, man. We made him a smart ass. Anyways, you also said there were gargoyles in here too, and all I see is a bunch of cheap inflatable bags of air. And then Reggie's like, listen here, you little brat. I'm a very busy man, and I don't have time to play children's games with the likes of simpletons like you. And he's like, childish. Oh, that's it, pal. You messed with the wrong person. If I can't make you listen to me, and then he's in this monster form, then I guess I'm going to eat you. Like, oh no. Right? And this is where the whole, again, cut the fat. But, yeah, sometimes you want to eat the fat, right? But anyways, and Reggie's like, what the? You're a monster? Oh no. Please don't eat me, Mr. Monster, sir. And he's just like, ha, that's right, beg for mercy. Now I have some demands you need to follow, or else, not even your daddy can save you now. And he's like, yeah, I could do that, but I have even better offer for you. And he's like, either you can leave here quietly, and we can pretend this little event didn't happen, or what? You're gonna throw me out or yourself? And this is where he becomes a monster. Well, actually, yes. Rawr, So then he goes here, and then he's like, what the? You're huge. I'm getting out of here, right? That's the whole point there. Go here. That's right, you little brats. All right. And then this gets cut. I hate having to use my true form on them. Make sure you don't let anyone get in or out. Got it? Right? So vaguely kind of tells it, but the person he's vaguely selling as well is like, yes, must protect. Maul. Snarl. Right. And then he goes here, same thing. Talking about finding out the book, finding out the Krampus monster, then we get to Curly and Slappy. So again, later on with Slappy's questline, and I basically was basing this off of the Attack of the Christmas Presents because there were other questlines that kind of went into one another. So I thought this would be the same thing. So anyways, Curly's like, as the children discovers of Mayfield's scam, Slappy was ready devising a plan. And then so Slappy's like, so my brother's behind this whole mess, and currently using my name to frame me for his wrongdoing, just so he can run me out of my town. Well, that little humbug of his is messing with the wrong dummy. I, however, am having to get help from the children. I have to get help from the children. Ah, there's one now. Hey, Chubby, how's it hanging? Again, call back the Chubby line, and of course, how's it hanging? Because, of course, he has to say that. And it's Dustin, so, oh, great, it's you, Slappy. What do you want? Can't you see I'm busy? And he's just like, I'm sorry, kid, I was just... Nah, never mind. You're probably too old enough for it anyways. And he's just like, what, Slappy? What is it? Tell me! Right? And then, this is where this bit comes in. And again, using different lines. You'll see later. So you mean to tell me the Santa Claus is coming to our town tonight? And then he's like, oh yeah, he even gotten some gifts and toys and all. He asked me personally to tell the kids to meet him. But then I thought, hey, I bet if this kid told everyone instead of me, he would be popular. Oh boy, I can't wait to tell everybody. Thanks for the heads up, Slappy. You're a real pal. And the Slappy's like, yeah. Now right along and remember, right along. God damn it. I thought it was going to be ride along, but you know, it's like ride along, whatever. Again, this was cut. It would have been fixed if it was in. But anyways, I digress. Now run along, run along, and remember to tell everyone in town. And then he's like, now that my first plan is done, it's time to get my Santa. And I know just who to find that, fill in that role perfectly. Hee hee. You know, laughing. Then he goes in the head, is this like the, you know, the point here is like, oh, worst, you know, there won't be any president with Marty. And then the only thing I could cut was Lucy's kind of giving that look like really? And then, of course, he's like, what? It's true, isn't it? All right. And then he goes, hey, isn't that Dustin over there? And you might be remembering, at this part here, it was different because of the certain quest lines and all that. But anyways, I digress. So he's like, hey, everybody, Santa is coming to town. I know where he'll be. Follow me, right? And then Eric is like, oh boy, Santa, I can't wait to see what he brought me. Brooke is like, hey, wait for me. Marty's like, wait, the Santa Claus? No way. I'm going to go see this for myself, right? And then Lucy's like, Marty, where are you going? I guess he's not as tough as he acts. And Slappy's like, hey, you two, I know how you can take down that purple beast and save the town for good. And of course, Courtney's like, a talking doll? I don't know. What if it's a trap that's beast himself? Again, that wasn't cut. That ended up becoming used. It's like, oh, trust me, kid. This is no trap. I know exactly what his weakness is, and I bet you two don't even got anything in mind, do you? Now, are you interested or not? Right? Then comes this part. And now you can see where I'm going with this when it comes to Chris coming back in here. Again, Chris has his own quest line that you'll see, but anyways. Again, this is just the main story, right? You'll get to see the different quest lines for the different characters. But anyways, I digress. Anyways, Chris is like, Slappy told me the kids were looking for Santa. I have to admit that the whole thing last year made me feel a bit crazy. However, I'm over it now and finally moved on from that old me last year. With the newfound powers of my music, again, we'll explain later on, I could truly bring the spirit back into the holidays. And then Chuck is like, hey, where's Santa? I thought you said he'll be here, Dustin. And then Marty's like, yeah, you little weasel, you better not have lied to us. And then Dustin's like, he'll be here, trust me. I bet hope Slappy wasn't lying to me, right? And then Eric is like, hey, wait, I see something in the shadows. Is it him? And of course, here comes Chris. Whoa, 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 Merry Christmas, boys and girls. I've gotten some presents for you. And then Brooke's like, it's the evil Santa form last year. Form last year. Run for your lives. Again, fun stuff. Then you get to Marty. Oh, great. First I'm running away from the monster kid. Now I'm running away from Santa. This night sucks. Dustin, it's not my fault. I didn't know it would be him. And then Chris is like, hey, wait, kids, come back. I've changed for good this time. Hold up. And then Slappy is like, I have to admit to Chris, he certainly brings the spirit back into this town. Now, if all goes to plan, they should be running right into the mall. Those two girls better have the trap ready by then. And then, of course, goes back to, well, must protect, keep people in. Good doggy. I don't know why. I decided to put something stupid in there because, again, horror is supposed to be scary yet funny. I'm doing R.L. Stein a service. Anyways, quick, let's hide over here inside the mall. Well, intruders must protect the mall, snarls. Brooke is like, no, wait, there's a dog coming right at us. Run away. And then Eric's like, this mall's full of monsters. I can take my chances with evil Santa than these monsters. Right, and then the quest comes in here. And then he goes to here. Oh, great. Not only are these stupid inanimate props coming after us, but now Courtney's crazy werewolf boyfriend's also after us. Again, this was going to be idea, like, you know, this was like, spawn the Mayfield Bazaar. They kind of spawned these animations, right? Again, that was where my headspace was. That's why you'll notice when it comes to the quest line, I ended up incorporating some stuff inside. Like, for example, getting items for the mall and trading it in. So it explains, those are the items you're trading in for the prizes, right? That's the idea. But anyways, Will growls. Courtney, Will, snap out of it. And then Will's like, what? Courtney, what's going on here? Back to his human form, by the way. Oh, no. On no. Not oh no, on no. Okay. Don't tell me I've hurted anyone under that mole spell. And then she's like, no, you're good. Apparently there's something helping us get this town back to normal. You said once someone's far away enough, the spell wears off. That's why he tricked the kids into running into the mall. That makes sense. And then Will's like, actually, that does make a lot of sense now that I think about it. This person must really hate this kid to know exactly how to defeat... Hey, is that... Marty? Is Marty okay? And then Marty's like this. And I was going to think that he had his scared face on, like he's frozen stiff. And he's like, yeah, I think he's just shell-shocked of the whole ordeal. Come on, Lucy. I only hope you get that present trap ready in time. Right? And then he goes here with Chris. Of course, panting because he's been running. Man, these kids are fast. Hey, wait. Are they running back? And then Reddy's just like, what's going on here? Why is there so much noise going on out here? I told you to keep... Wait a minute. You! Right? He's pointing to Chris. And he's like, well, what the... Is that a giant monster talking to me? And then Reggie's like, you were that pathetic mall Santa I had earlier before. I thought I told you to get out of here. And then Chris is like, wait, you're that brat from before. I'll teach you to respect your elders and not scare kids. And then Dustin's like, come on, Santa, go beat up that monster up. Again, imagine imagine if that happened, right? Santa Claus beating up a kid. Ooh, yes. Imagine, that would have been funny. Anyways, whatever, this is why they cut up scenes here. Anyways, they're like, wow, I guess he really is Santa. Go, Santa! Chris is like, you had enough yet? And then Reggie's just like, haha, look at you, old man, already out of breath. Do you really think you toys and presents can defeat me? Christmas spirit can't defeat me now. I am invincible. And then this is where the bit of, oh, Reggie, there's a present here. And he's like, oh, present, oh, boy, right? And then that is the whole bit here, right? And then he gets caught, and he's just like, Slappy was right. But then the change there was like, wow. You know, with him laughing like that, he's not really threatening anymore. And he's just like, am I hearing laughter? Sorry, that was Will. I don't know why I added that voice, but anyways. She's like, Courtney's just like, Lucy must have succeeded with the laugh in the box trap. And Slappy's like, now that everyone's distracted, time to get my minions back on my side once more, right? And then he comes to here. Something that got cut was Megan's like, huh, where did that girl go? It's just this mannequin standing here, and am I wearing cheap clothing? Again, better quote, but anyways, this was like whatever. And then Mortman, where's that brat? I spent all my time reading a bunch of blank pages, right? And then Slappy's like, attention shoppers, for all complaints and returns, please follow the laughter of the mall owner as he ripped you suckers off your hard-earned cash. Have a nice day. Again, similar, but it changes later on. But anyways, he's just like this, you know. Then Dark comes in. Hey, there he is. I recognize that stupid clothes anywhere. Ready? Uh-oh. And then, of course, it goes this. And then Reddy's just like, well, you see, it's, And then, you know, Dark goes here. And then Reddy's like, wait, hold on. Let's not be too hasty in front of the kids. After all, it's Christmas, right? And then Mara's like, you know what? He's right, everyone. It is the holidays. So why not give the brat a nice holiday HorrorTown fright of his life, right? And then, of course, the hat. I hate this town, Daddy. And this is where the whole thing ends, right? So this is the last part here. So, Slappy's like, it brings music to my ears to hear in terror coming back to this town. Although, there is one more thing to take care of, right? And then he goes to Mr. Woods, he's like, drat, that stupid kid ruined my plan to get rid of my brother for good. Oh well, at least he didn't realize I was behind this whole thing. And he's like, oh, I beg to differ, brother. In fact, you did so well, I've decided to give you a little Christmas present for you. And of course, it would be the Christmas present with the hiss. So was because he's like, oh, you could reuse the Christmas gift, right? But then no, Pedro's like, no, I got something better. But heart attack backpack. So there you go. Anyways, Mr. Wood, hey, get off of me, stupid box! Ah! And Slappy's like, haha, no one messes with Slappy. I'm the one that runs this town. Ah. You know, I think I'm starting to like this holiday even more. And then Curly's like, what's this? Slappy's saving the town. Well, in HorrorTown, they say, that Slappy's small wooden heart grew... And he's like, finish the sentence, Curly, and I'll give you a gift much worse than my brother's. And this is the whole, whoops, looks like the player has gone near, so have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And then, of course, the Reggie Mayfield, I don't know what it was called. I think it was something, the Rise of the Krampus, I think is what was the name. But originally it was the Sale of Business, is what I had in mind, but whatever. Anyways, they changed this here. First part was pretty much the same from before. Nothing really too much changed. The second bit after the first one changes. So it's basically this. Father has gotten a tip that this town would be ideal to prove myself to him that I can take over when the time arrives. So far from what I have seen, this town's a mess. Everything all over the place with no organization. The town's full of monsters and weirdos. It's filthy, it's creepy, it's too perfect. So this whole thing of like, you know, this is not organized. It's a joke on the fact that this is a town builder game. So God knows that he's criticizing your town. He's just like, man, this town sucks. You know, he's making you feel bad, making you hate the character, right? Anyways, goes to the next thing, a challenge. Ha! This will be too easy for me to convince these simpletons to put our mall here. The only place that would make an ideal candidate is this town's promenade. It's the only decent area in this dump. Again, more shading on the players' towns. The sooner I can get this job done, the sooner I can leave this place and go back to somewhere more warmer. I think I just spotted the mayor over there now. Time to put the good old Mayfield charm. Again, Mayfield spelt wrong again. Just ignore me. But at the end of the day, the same thing. More Mr. Piccolo. I'm so sorry to hear. Right? But then, this is the funniest part. But I wouldn't worry on him too much, though, because I think he will have his revenge for next year's show. And what's funny about that is that turned out to be the case. Kinda. He did get he ended up getting his play, kinda, after the year after. So, you know, better late than never. Anyways, we go on here. Some things have still stayed the same, but the thing that's changed is Reggie in the beginning is like, I have the mannequins and inflatable gargoyles set up for the grand opening for this mall. Then he goes here, same thing, 12 screams. He's like, now don't get me wrong, I don't outright hate Christmas like my father. After all, it is the most profitable time of year for him. However, I find this whole Christmas season to be stupid. People's greed to get newer things, we sell them, and then them trying to mask it as them being nice. Again, criticizing the whole commercialism of Christmas. And then, of course, the whole, although there's this one teeny tiny Christmas tradition I do find quite meaningful. And you might be thinking, yes, this is exactly word for word from the Grinch. Mistletoe. No, Parker up. I digress. You get it. You know where that's coming from if you've seen the Jim Carrey version. Yes, the superior version and my guilty pleasure around Christmas. Anyways, I digress. Anyways, we continue on here. It seems like the merchandise has finished work on Father's new mall. I just throw in some deals, make the citizens feel like they're getting a good sale. Then Reggie's like, sure enough, grand opening, pockets. It's like, yeah, I want it, blah, blah, blah. Sorry. Again, I'm getting sleepy from my own me talking. That's not good. Alright, let's just continue. Anyways, it's like, if I ever do meet this Mr. Slappy, I will be forever in his debt. Yeah, so, again, this is going to be later on in Slappy's quest to talking about what's going on here. Right? But anyways. Alright, here comes the fun part. The things that got cut out. Did you know that Chris had his own quest line? Yes, he did. Those were 3 parts. This was going to be 3 parts. Things called Everything Must Go! Right? So let's read this story that never got to be. Chris is HorrorTown's very own Sandy Claus, but unlike the real one, he comes with some flaws. Last year's meltdown caused him to scare this whole town straight. I wonder if this year he will finally accept his fate. Chris is like, well, it's that time of year again. Guess that means another year as good old Saint Nick. Hopefully people don't realize that I was that scary Santa from last year. Hey, what's this? And then he goes in, sees a paper. Grand opening for Mayfield's Bazaar. Did I spell that? No, I didn't spell that right again. Ignore me. Save big this holiday season. And he's just like, this new mall seems to be ambitious with this advertising campaign. I wonder if they are hiring, right? So then we go over here. It's the next one here. So, Mr. Mayfield, do I have the job? And then Reggie's just like, well, I reviewed your resume, and so far, how do I put this without sounding mean? And he's like, please, sir, I need this gig. Money is tight for me, and I'm willing to do anything for a job. And then Reggie's just like, I like your attitude of sucking up to me, so I feel some pity for you. You do seem to have experience with working for advertising for malls in the past. Why not? Congrats, you get the job. And he's just like, thank you so much, Mr. Mayfield. You're not regretting this decision. Again, this is going to explain later on because he thinks that Chris did advertising because he didn't say, my thought process, he didn't say he worked as a mall center. He's just like, oh, I advertised for malls, right? So that's what he looked at it and he goes like, well, you know what? He did a pretty good job. Fine, whatever, you know. Why not? I mean, I really don't need the advertising, but fine. You know. So then later, this is where the thing comes in. All right. So what exactly do I need to do? And then Reggie's just like, your job is simple. You'll be advertising this mall outside so people then comes inside to shop around. Easy enough. And he's like, oh yeah, I've done stuff like that many times for charities, so I know how to get people in. And he's like, good. You'll be paid how many people you entice in the mall. Good luck. Again, interesting way he basically sell. I guess it makes sense. He's not paid by the hour, by how many people he gets put into the mall. So that makes sense. Anyways, he's like, weird that I never had an employee so much younger than me before. But regardless, it's time for Santa to do what he does best. Advertise. Again, commercialism talking quest thing here. Oh, right. Okay, so I'll scroll down a little bit more. Again, Naive Grim. Look how many quests. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. God, what's wrong with me? But again, I'm a good storyteller. So let's read this. I must say that the Chris fellow certainly knows what he's doing. He's bringing in more customers than my workers could ever. Wait a minute. Who's that outside my mall? And he sees Chris as a Santa. Ho, ho, ho. Come inside Mayfield's Bazaar for some great holiday savings. Take it from me, Santa Claus, to know you're getting a great deal here. And he's just like, excuse me, what do you think you're doing? Right? And then he's just like, I'm advertising the mall like you asked me to do. And then Reggie's just like, I didn't know such thing, fat man. I demand you remove that sign and get off my property immediately. Right? And he's just like, boss, it's me, Chris. Remember? You just hired me a few hours ago. And he's like, oh, so it is. My apologies is in order here. And I know you would be wearing in that get-up. I would have not given you the time of day. So now we're in an awkward situation, aren't we, Chris? And he's like, sir, what exactly does that mean? And then Reggie's just like, it means you're fired. Now get out of here and take that hideous thing with you. Again, more of the I hate Christmas type of Grinch type of character. And then we get to here with Chris, the third part. Who does that pompous brat think he is? The way he talked to me like that. I was doing him a service by making people come to his cold, empty mall. It's not even decorated. Again, we're talking about lore building here. It deals, but not feel Christmassy. Kind of strange, doesn't it? Alright. Oh, who am I kidding? This Santa costume has brought me nothing but trouble. And he's just like, I wanted to be remembered as a rock legend. But, oh no. I instead ended up being remembered as that scary mall center that failed at life. I want to make people happy. Oh, he's going back to his Joker arc, I see, to get meaning to what Christmas should be about. But no. All people care about is saving a few bucks with worthless junk that will be replaced next year. I've been thrown around like trash, but no more. I will have my vengeance on this town once and for all. Right? So, again, he does his Joker thing again. And then we get to this. And the last one, he's like, that power. I never felt such raw energy like that before playing my guitar. The Jingle Bell Rock. That's where that's where my mind was set at before. That's why he was doing the Jingle Bell Rock. But no, really, I did the Jingle Bell Rock because I thought the funny pun is like, oh yeah, the song, right? He likes being a rock star. Why not? Rockin' Santa. But anyways, and the toys. It's almost as if I could control them with what I did. Maybe I have this whole idea wrong. Perhaps my legacy will be remembered the way I wanted it after all. I've been singing Jingle Bells all my life. Now I know I should have been singing Jingle Bell Rock. Again. Cringe, I know. I'm sorry. But you know what? This never got into the game. So as far as I know, I'm saved. I'm saved. I saved myself from the cringe you would have witnessed. Would have read. Anyways, we ended off. Seems like Chris has finally found himself at last. But I bet his rock and roll show would be a blast. And then we get to the beast deal around with Will Blake, right? Then we get to this. Will Blake and Courtney King are a cute odd couple, to say the least. One is fearless, the other is a beast. Despite this, though, they seem to have gotten off so well, until a new mall came in their lives, and one fell under its hypnotic spell. Man, Curly's pretty good for the rhyming, isn't he? Anyways, I digress. I'm gonna stop stroking myself. Anyways, yeah, stroking my ego, I mean. Hey, Courtney, want to go see this new mall the mayor just unveiled? Could be an excuse for a bit of Christmas shopping. And Courtney's like, I don't know. I'm not really into the festivities as other people are in this town. I don't see the appeal in going to a place and buying expensive gifts with while obnoxious Christmas music is playing in the background. Again, we all been there. We know. We know. Anyways. Oh, I see. You're just scared to go in the big super mall full of people and monsters. Or is that you don't want your boyfriend finding out what you're getting him for Christmas? And then she's like, I'm not doing that, baka, I'm not doing that, idiot, the tsundere. I'm not scared. Besides, maybe I've already gotten your gift already. And he's like, well, now, there's only one way to prove it if your statement is right. I don't know what that was going on there, but okay. Anyways. She's like, there, happy? I told you I wasn't. Oh, wow. Look at this place. It's huge, right? And then you might be noticing I had this green thing here. And the reason why is because if you read this correctly, welcome to Mayfield Bazaar, where your desires are always on sale. We have a special book that comes in visible ink for those investigating secrets. It's the lady interested. It's like, huh, that sounds interesting. It's like, oh, it just sounds like a bargain. It's like, yeah, the reason why it's green is because this ended up getting reused into the story. So, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's different, but this is where it came from. So I cut and pasted into somewhere else. So I saved certain things. So Will got cut. Anyways, sorry, not interested. We were just browsing around and are currently leaving. Come on, Courtney. And then Reggie's like, oh, well, thank you for stopping by. There must be more than that kid leads on. I think I know just what I do to make him useful. Then we go in here. And he's like, Will, what's gotten into you? You were the one that wanted to go into the new mall in the first place. And then Will's just like, there's something up with that kid. The whole mall was feeling like it was sucking us in. And is scent. Right? Again, he's a werewolf. He can smell. He's like a dog. He can smell. He has a sixth sense. So then he's like, so he puts on a lot of cologne. Doesn't really give you the right to judge him, Will. And then Will is just like, Courtney, snap out of it. You're talking crazy here. You never acted like this before. And she's like, you don't. Wait, you're right. My head. I feel so dizzy. Courtney, hold on, I got you. And then they're like, oh, that's why she was dreaming. She wasn't dreaming, she just fainted. And, oh, now it makes sense. See? See where I was going with this originally? Isn't that great? Oh, God. All right, let's continue. Anyways, quest happens. And then he's like, all right, Courtney's back home resting. Whatever happened in there caused her to be like she was in a trance. Come to think of it, most of these people here are acting like hypnotic zombies. I knew something was up. Being a werewolf does give me some foresight to smell things before, better than normal people. And that kid was hiding something under that suit of his. I'm gonna go back there to find out what's really going on here and get to the bottom of this mess. So then we go into here, right? Welcome to, oh, it's you. Welcome back. May I interest you in, and he's just like, cut it, rich boy. I know you're up to something, and I won't let you hurt anyone in this town, even Courtney. And he's just like, goodness, I don't know what you mean, sir. All I'm doing is helping the town, giving my service to help them. Even your little girlfriend there, right? And he's just like, you're not helping. This place is a parasite on this town. Again, you could think of it as being really like a parasite or a metaphor. Up to your interpretation. Sucking up all the joy and cheer. No wonder there's no Christmas spirit, you humbug. Right? Again, I was so wanting to use this word as a monster term. And you may be wondering why. Well, if you look at what a humbug is, this is where he comes in. I was like, what did you just call me? And he's just like this. A humbug. Someone who's deceptive and deceives. A pathological liar. Like you. Right? Again, because in the story, he likes telling tall lies. So again, a humbug. A humbug who stole Christmas. Alright, whatever. Whatever. You get what was going on here. Anyways. Reggie's like, a werewolf? Oh my, I knew you were a special one. Will's just like, snarl, shut at you, or I will attack you where you stand. And then Reggie's just like, oh, I don't think you'll be doing that. Boys, sees him. And he's like, hey, wait, let me go. Wait, why am I? And he's just like, human? Oh, silly me. Perhaps it's because this mall is built with a special kind of magic that, as you put it, sucks up all the joy and cheer. In fact, it does just more than that. You could even say, it also makes willing servants to my cause. Hee hee hee. Again, I wouldn't change the laugh maybe to something else, but again, the hee hee hees are always a safe bet. Anyways, he's like, what will Will gotten himself into? What will this mall take? Let me read that again. What has Will gotten himself into? What will this mall take? We will have to find out after this commercial break. Again, me being silly. Because again, you need to be scary and silly at the same time. That's what makes Goosebumps work. Alright. 2 more. Friendly competitions with Satyr. So this is his quest line. Conrad is like, oh yeah, no Curly, by the way. Curly's not in this one. The Satyr's on his own. Anyways, Conrad comes in. He says like, hey Satyr, Hey Satyr, do you happen to have any axes for sale? I've been looking to get a new one for some time now. And the Satyr's just like, let me see if I have anything like that in the back. Mind me asking what you're doing it for? And then Conrad's just like, seeing how it's Christmas, I've been selling some trees off on the side for some extra resources for the winter ahead. Right? Because he likes cutting trees down, so I thought, oh, that's why. He's the one who does tree for sales. But anyways. And the Satyr's like, Conrad, if you're looking for some extra cash, why not dress like Santa for the new mall they opened up? I mean, you could pull it off, because you got the beard. And then he's just like, I don't need to cast the way I've been living. Just some good old trading of materials for common items works just fine. Right, good old fashioned. Anyways, Conrad's just like, besides, last I need is to work for some commemorations. Alright. Whatever. I don't know what I was thinking back then. Need to work for some commemorations after taking away some of my usual customers. I guess talking because of the Christmas tree thing. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking there. Again, it's my mind. Anyways, Satyr. Well, I didn't find an axe, but I do have this bow saw. Will this work? And Conrad's just like, it will have to do for now. Thanks again, Satyr. Merry Christmas. I'm sorry, Conrad. Happy holidays. How dare you? Alright, whatever. We all know. Shh. Shush it. We all know. We don't know no real holiday. Anyways. Yeah, you too. Now that you mention it, it has been awfully quiet around here as of late. I better close up shop early and check this new mall out, right? And then we continue on. So, this new mall, huh? I have to say it's pretty big compared to the outside. And he's just like, you can't even tell where anything is, and every store here is on sale. Ugh. Now that I'm thinking about it, and then he goes in and he just like turns into his monster form. I'm walking away with the richest valuable items and make profit selling it back double. No, triple the original cost. Ha! You're right. So then he goes in here and he's just like, yes, it's mine! Oh, mine! I'll take this, and some of these, and... Wait a minute. And he's just like, this isn't marked down. It was raised up and marked down the same sale price that I would have sold it. This is a ripoff! I wish I did that, because that's a call. That's a, what do you call it? That's a call in, or I can't think of the word, but basically it's like calling someone out. I've seen stores that do this, where they basically would mark something up, bring it back down to the same price that it was originally before, being like, "Oh, it's a sale." It's like, that's illegal, by the way. If you point that stuff out to them, they'll have to go like, "All right, fine, we'll sell it to you cheap. Just shut your mouth." All right. Anyways, Saders then snaps out of it after he realizes that he's being ripped off, and he's like, "What happened? I must have blacked out somehow, and hey, where did these things come from?" Right? And the police is like, Officer Ramon. I love her. And he's like, "Hey, what do you think you're doing? You're coming with me." This was before, by the way, I hated her, so, Then police is like, "Mr. Mayfield, sir, I caught this man disturbing the public inside the mall. He was running around like a lunatic." And the Satyrs like, "Yeah, sorry about that. I have this weird condition, you see," right? And then Reddy's like, "Oh, not to worry, Satyr, was it? The Mayfield Bazaar is certainly a large enough space that it can make anyone happy," right? I love how I did Reggie here. Really, I do. It makes me smile. But anyways, Satyr's like, "Actually, I was looking closer and found that some of these places are giving away deals. They're being masked as such, and it's just," and then the police is like, "Should I kick him out, sir?" And then Reggie's just like, "Oh, no need to be so brutal, officer. Mr. Satyr was just on his way out, weren't you?" Right? And then Satyr's like, "Oh, yeah, I was just heading out. Sorry again to disturb you," right? And then this is where some shade comes in. More of the whole, something's wrong with this place. Because afterwards he's like, "Man, what's up with her? She was never that. Hey, wait a minute, I forgot to pay for these," right? So because he stole some things, right? And he's like, "Plastic jewelry? I could have sworn they were real a minute ago. Also, these VHS tapes are just cardboard cutouts." I love that. I love the idea that you're buying cardboard. So not only are they ripping you off, but you're buying, like, cheap garbage. That's the best storyline I had for this. It was just like, oh, that's perfect. I still love that. That is so cruel. Alright, anyways. Conrad was right. Something's fishy going on with that mall. I better steer clear from it for now. Don't want to know what would have happened if I did stay behind. And then Curly finally comes in out of nowhere, and he's like, "Poor Satyr, it seems like the new mall was not meant to be, for it might be even shadier than he." Right? And then, of course, last one. The dummy who saved Christmas? Right? And I love this. I love this more. I'm sad that this didn't get in, because, again, another Christmas a Grinch line here. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Here we go. "There once was a dummy named Slappy who was on Christmas isn't very happy." And then he's like, "Curly," and then Slappy's like, "Curly, you are starting to annoy me with that constant rhyming. However, you are right that I'm not very happy during this time of year, with the town laughing, clapping, and cheering." Clapping and cheer. And he's just like, "Oh, great, now I'm speaking these stupid rhymes too. I get that skeleton if the last thing I'll..." You know what? I'm not going to finish that sentence. You got to figure it out. Again, I love the dialogue I had in mind originally. Anyways, this town is certainly quiet, much better than before. However, there's not even screaming, and I wanted more. Again, he's doing this. This new mall Mayfield Bazaar. Again, I spelt this... Okay, so I spelt this one wrong, too. What's wrong with me? I can't spell anything properly. Anyways, this new mall Mayfield Bazaar sounds like it's to blame. To have this new mall shut down would be a shame. I'll go check this mall out and see it nickels and dimes. Then I'll go grab that Curly for making me rhyme. Alright. Then we continue on here. So then we go to Slappy in the mall. This place is certainly huge. I don't think I'm under that cursed rhyming spell. Let's see if I can find anyone in this dump. Ah, there's Mortman now. I can easily get him mad enough to cause some amusement. And then Slappy's like, "Oh, hello, Mr. Mortman. My, what a lovely book you're reading. It's too bad I have seen the kids in town destroying your library. Doesn't that make you mad?" And then Mortman's just like blank-faced. And then Slappy's like, hey, didn't you hear me? I said the children are destroying your library. And Mortimer's like, oh, that's nice. I'll deal with it later. And he's like, what's going on with him? He's usually very protective of his books. Yet it seems like he's under some kind of spell, right? And then we go into here. And Slappy's like, everyone here is too busy shopping to care that a talking dummy is trying to get them to do something. Again. What's wrong with me? Anyway, Slappy's like, the students just pulled the school on fire under protest. And then Mars is like, that's nice, dear. Now run along. I'm busy. Then Slappy's like, this is getting ridiculous. I demand to know what's going on here. Then Reggie's like, who left this toy dummy on the floor here? And then Slappy's like, who are you calling? And then again, the classic line, who are you calling dummy? Dummy! And then we continue. And he's like, a talking ventriloquist doll. This must be important to sell. And then Slappy's like, don't you touch me. I'm Slappy, the ruler of this town. And then Reggie's like, I'm sorry. Did you just say your name is Slappy? Well, my apologies, sir. I owe you a great gratitude for your fine service with my father's company. And then he's like, well, now, that's more like it, slave. Now then. And he's just like, I demand to know what it... Wait. And then I demand to know what? And he's like, wait, what did you just say? This is where he realized something's up. Right. And this is what it is. And he's like, so run that by me again one more time. I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying correctly. And then Reggie's like I said before, sir, my father talked to you on the phone about how you wanted his mall to come to this town. Told him fully how you wanted to have us use our services to get revenge, as you say. And he's like, uh-huh. And did I also mention anything else out of curiosity? And he's just like, no, just that you want to see your brother's downfall and at first hand once he sees what you have done to this town. And he's just like, did I now? And by the way, yeah, this was when they still had the conflict of Mr. Wood versus Slappy, so I decided to continue that. So anyways, we got this going on here. And I'm going to move this a little bit, just a little bit afterwards. So anyways, it's like Slappy's just like, so, Mr. Wood's to blame for this town recent add-on project, is he? If I know anything about my brother, is that he can't help but self-monologue to himself. He seems to love to embellish his own ego. Last I saw him, he was here in this old abandoned house. Again, talking about his house. Let's see if he's dumb enough to prove me right? So then later, this happens, so I'm going to move this up a little bit. There we go. Alright, so this is what he says. Ah, what a miserable Christmas night it is. Make it even more sweeter to know my brother's downfall is coming. And he's just like, tricking that humbug creature to drain this town of its joy and wallets is a fine way to make my brother look bad when he was to blame for ruining Christmas for everybody. Same he sent his kid, though. He tries to act tough, but his one weakness being that he's too ticklish could make this whole thing fall apart. This is how he figured it out. That's why I encouraged him to go after some of the town's monsters as guards. Better than the stupid inflatable gargoyles and mannequins could ever be. And he laughs. So he's just like, so that's his game. So that's his game, is it? Ruin my reputation to get me out of my own town, huh? Well, two could play that game. And then he's just like this. Well, I will guarantee you, dear this brother, I won't go down without a fight, for I'll have this town back by the end of the night. I'm rhyming again, aren't I? And then that's the end of that. So that was funny indeed. Again, ignore. I'm just moving stuff around again. So that was the case. And then we get so after that, I ended up having to. I sent this to him and I was like, "Hey, what do you think?" And he's just like, "Oh, this is great. There's a tiny little problem. It's too much. Too much. We only can accept 15 quests, maybe 20. So it's just like, oh, oops, my bad. So let me fix that for you. So this ended up becoming the final part. And you might also mention this. So this is actually what would have been on top of the. He also said like we need something to say for the blurb. So this is what I said. So, attention shoppers, a new mall just opened up for business in HorrorTown, just in time for the holidays. However, will Courtney and Lucy get the kids together to save Christmas? Find out and shop till you drop dead. So again, as you will see, the story is basically the same here. Nothing's actually changed. In fact, most of this is pretty much the same. Things got cut, of course, right? As you'll notice, like for example, when it comes to Lucy, Courtney, yeah, so it's just like here. So it's changed it to what we know now, to what we know and love, right? Because Will doesn't exist. Getting help from Lucy. So this is where the quest comes in here, right? And as it goes, I felt like I was hypnotized to go in, right? So basically talking about that type of stuff, because if you look here, the whole thing of like, that sounds like a bargain. No, wait, you know. So again, this stuff is pretty much the same from the quest, except for one thing. Slappy's plot and tricks the kids into going to the building. So originally, so this ended up getting cut and changed. You'll see why. So anyways, as we go back a bit where we began, we see Slappy was already devising a plan. So my brother's behind this whole mess. He's currently using my name to frame me in the wrongdoing, just so he can run me out of my town. Well, that little humbug of his is messing with the wrong dummy. I'll ever have to get some help with these kids. And of course he goes to, there's one now. Hey Chubby, how's it hanging? Because I love that line. But anyways, it's like, oh great, it's you Slappy, what do you want? Can't you see I'm busy? And he's just like, I'm sorry kid, I was just, nah, never mind, you're probably too busy anyways. And he's like, wait Slappy, what is it? Tell me, right? So this is where this comes in. Where it's just like, so you mean to tell me that there's a huge stacks of gifts in the warehouse around here? Again, huge stacks of gifts. This is an odd because at this point I was told that they were going to bring the Christmas gifts spawn scene from last year's Christmas, which was Attack of the Christmas Presents, as a decoration to buy. So I was like, oh, this is a great way to kind of be like, oh, spawn the presents. Alright, anyways, sorry. So then he's like, oh yeah, the adults didn't want you guys to know about them. However, I thought if I told everyone about it instead of me, you'd be popular. And like, if you told him. And Dustin's like, oh boy, I can't wait to tell everyone. Thanks for heads up, Slappy. You're a real pal, right? And he's just like, yeah, now run along. Remember, everyone in town. Now my first plan is done. It's time to make those two over there. Those kids are going to get a nasty surprise, right? So of course they cut this out because it was too, like, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's why, because of this whole thing here. It's just too much, so they cut this out because it was redundant. But then it goes here. And then of course they changed this, right? With the whole, hey everyone, I found out all the Christmas presents. I know where they are. Follow me, right? But of course this got changed to get this crazy backpack off of me, which was a little bit better. But anyways. But then again, what presents? No way. You got to see this for myself, right? And then he's like, Marty, where are you going? I guess he's not as tough as he acts, huh? Again, it's the same thing we've seen before. But anyways, he's like, hey, you two, I know how you can get this stuff. So, again, he changed it slightly, but whatever. Reggie comes out mad about the noise and gets presents, right? So then Chuck's like, hey, where's the present? I thought you said they would be here, Dustin. And he's just like, yeah, you little weasel. Whatever, same thing here. And then he's like, hey, wait, I see something in the shadows. Is it the presents? And then the present comes in. Psst. It's like, it's the evil present from last year. Run for your lives. Again, the same thing. Oh, great. First I'm running away from the monster kid. Now I'm running away from presents. This night sucks. Again, I changed it slightly, but they ended up changing for whatever. Anyways. Then he goes, quick, let's hide over here inside the mall. Brooke's like, no way. There's a monster coming right at us. Run away. Eric says, like, this mall's full of monsters. I take my chance with the evil presence of them. Then Reggie comes in. What's going on here? Why is there so much noise? I told you would keep... Wait a minute. Presents? Again, it got changed later on. But anyways, it's like, oh, Reggie, there's a present here. Oh, boy. You know, this is still the same here. Then this is the same. Again, this gets changed. As you know, this got cut. The whole, wow, you know, with him laughing like that, he's not really a threat to anyone. Marty's like, huh, is that laughter? Slappy's like, now that everyone's distracted, it's time to get my bennies back on my side once more. So then this still same here, right? The whole same thing. So as you can see. But then again, it's just like this got changed a little bit. It's just like, I spent how much? Where's that brat? Right? So again. But again, most of this has stayed the same. Nothing really changed. Especially with the Reggie's questline. In fact, the Reggie's questline, as you'll see, is pretty much the same. So, yeah, not a whole lot's changed. So, that's basically it. So, those are the only things I ended up cutting at the final thing to make it nice and clean. But, as you see, most of the story that you've seen before is, you know, continued and stayed. So, now we got that done, and you got to see some of the previews, I've decided to go ahead and show you something fun. And this fun thing I wanted to show you is a special presentation in sorts, because the next thing is going to be showing you my a gameplay of sorts. You might be wondering what I mean by that. Well, let me explain. This is what I mean by this. It is bang. This is a beta build that I got. So, because I had involvement with this update, they actually gave me the beta build of this game. And, what is a beta build? Well, as the name implies, it's a build that was released before the actual fully release. And the purpose of this is so that they can make sure everything's working fine, test certain bugs, issues, things of that nature on different platforms, just to make sure it works just fine. And basically it's the same thing like any other game, except there's a new feature that is exclusive to the beta builds, and this is for quality insurance people. I'll show you what it is, but let me just go ahead and skip some of this stuff here. Again, this is going to be playing, but as you'll notice, there's this. So this is a debug menu. So this basically allows me to do anything as far as loading certain things, opening a certain books, levels, getting a lot of resources, basically to make my life easier when I want to test something out. So say, for example, I want to test to make sure something is working fine. I would do something like that. And of course, if I want to get through something quickly, oh yeah, and it's glitched, as you can see. But, yeah, it's, just trying to do this here. Just playing around with this, trying to figure out what I can do. So, unlock that. And, yeah, it's interesting because, this whole involvement thing with being in the game series and whatnot, it's unique. Oh, and there's the event in question. Look at that. I still love the fact that they added the roads there so that it's connected. So the promenade is connected to the town, so it's not exclusive. I still find that very very fun indeed. But anyways, so I was still new to this, so I was just trying to see. So basically, just set myself up before the new one stuff comes in. Again, sorry about that. Still getting over this cold. I'm better now, but still kind of the after effect, as you can pretty much tell. Anyways, I ended up getting through this here, but skipping through certain things. Now, what's interesting is that you may have noticed, and something I'm going to use later on, is during the quest lines, you'll notice there's a skip button. So, the skip button is exactly what you think it is. I just press the skip button, and it just skips the quest line as if I completed it. Which I just did. So, and basically it just kind of continues so I can go through certain of these quickly. So, there's that. And of course, it kind of tests out here. You get to the fun bit, which is basically testing out for the actual event that comes in through here. And the purpose of it is, like I said, to make sure things work. And it turns out, before the event went live, there were some little things to fix. Some of them were like bugs as far as face stuff goes. Like, you know, just display stuff. But, blemishes, I should say. But there was one in particular that was really bad. And, oh yeah, and then there's this. 50% off. Oh boy. First time I actually saw that pop up. That's weird. I never saw that ever again. But yeah, that was interesting. But that's not the only thing. There was a glitch that you'll get to see in this game, and it has something to do with the shop till you drop hypnotizers that was added into the game that I had no involvement with. And it pretty much shows because it ends up glitching in some case. And weird. God, with the stuff. God. I do apologize. Basically, it's just rewatching this stuff. So I was just playing through this with my tablet because at the time you can't have two devices at once, and I had to sacrifice my default town that I built for a while, and then redo it again. So now that the town passed 2019 going to 2020, it was done in the very beta-like stage, like lower levels than it was originally. And then there's a snowman pack. It's weird too. You got to see the land expansions. Like for example, it uses items from the Christmas event. I'm not sure why exactly, but there you go. Now the thing is, in order to do the promenade stuff, I have to be at level 10, and there's actually a way to get through this fast, and I will show you. There's a button where you can actually level up. The other thing too, you can actually load certain pre-maps and stuff like that. And the reason for it so that they can, again, test if a certain bug is happening, they can replay it just to make sure that such a thing is happening correctly. But anyways, as you can see, there's more to the menu. So, adding XP to level up. Oh man, look at that. I'm leveling up real quick. Again, this is an interesting feature, but it's not like something you should want to have in the game because it just breaks the fun. And there you go. We finally unlocked the shop till you drop dead. It's a little bit messy, but that's to be expected. It's a beta, so they can fix it. But yeah, there it is. So, there's a menu as we've seen before. It's a 6 days. Again, testing the timer. So these were just, just a little bit just to make sure everything's working out just fine. So you got that. And then, this is the first time I actually got to see it. So remember, this was before the event went live. So I got to see what this looked like before any of you did. So I was fortunate enough. And but the reason why is because I helped make this event, as you saw through the little bits of clips there. So there you go. And yeah, and I was like, ooh, Santa's throne. So they weren't lying. So I got to see these items. Oh god, what they did with them. And yeah, the snow globe, 80. Oh boy, that's a lot. That's a lot of money for something like that. Oh, I think they changed it. It's been almost 3 years since this happened, so I can't tell you. But yeah, I was looking at that and go, ooh boy, no. Oh god, no. Needed to change that. All right, so holiday street lamp. Got the HorrorTown sign, which is advertising this event because I told you before what it was supposed to look like. So we got some cool items here. Got Reggie, of course, $500, which is not that bad. Could make a monster. Oh god, I hate the fact that being tired and all this. Why? Okay, so we got 7, 5, 9, 7 of the shop till you drop hypnotizers. So this is the first time I got to see these hypnotizers, and I was like, what is this? As you can see, it didn't say get it from the Make a Monster. It was blanked, and there's a reason for that, and you'll see exactly what happened. A heart attack backpack, the same thing, but the heart attack backpack wasn't the issue. But yeah, that's the grand prize, the Christmas tree. So let's unlock the promenade. And while we're at it, we can also unlock the other lands here too, so we get some access. But yeah, there you go. Look at this. The promenade's now unlocked. So now the town people. And I tested this out because you can remove the roads, but as I mentioned before, you can't place new ones down. So once it's gone, it's gone. So that's why I saved it until the end, because once you take it out, then it's like, whoops, you can't do that no more. Sorry. So yeah, it's fun to see the townspeople walking to and from the actual area that you can't really place anything down. They connect it in a way that makes sense. Again, I guess I've been doing this for almost 2 hours now that I'm starting to feel I feel the pain. Feel the pain, man. But I'm sorry, I digress. But yeah, you get to see some of this stuff here. Again, it's just testing to make sure everything's kind of working out. And this is where you get all the cool monster stuff by giving them the items in question. And the laptop, I think yeah, that was the thing. The hypnotizers, they weren't even in here, I think. Unless I'm mistaken. No, they weren't. They weren't even in here. So I was like, okay, it needs the hypnotizers. How do we get the hypnotizers? It's not there. And not even the backpack either. So that's why I was blanked, because I didn't know what it was doing. And of course, there's Curly saying my line of being the rhyming scheme, because originally when I did the rhyming, the reason why is because most of the Christmas stories you hear, they'd end up doing this rhyming scheme, and it just became a type of, what do you call it? A cliche. So I figured I had to add that in there. And I was just kind of dumbfounded reading the text I actually did, which was interesting. So, yeah. It's fun to see Curly reading what I told him to read. But that's not the only time that's happened before. I actually did help back in 2020 with the other guy. And my hands got into the code as far as reading or writing certain things go. I had a hand in when it came to, I think it came from the internet's main quest line. I helped with that, as well as Rachel's quest line. So that's what I had a hand in. And I also kind of retouched certain things up. So yeah, after you saw my dialogue of how I explained the story and all that stuff, it gives you kind of a good idea of my thought process, and I think I did a pretty good job with how I fit. I'm sure if no one knew this, like if I didn't say anything, the average Joe would probably look in that and go, "Oh yeah, of course, it's just obvious somebody from the company would write this, right? Not just some rando on the internet who doesn't work for the company who did it, And again, I did it because I love the community. I was getting myself involved with it, with making videos and stuff like that. So why wouldn't I do something like this? It's one of the lifetime opportunities you never get to do ever again. And not a lot of people, and like I said before in the beginning, not a lot of people can say I had a helping hand in making something like this without being a working employee, if that makes sense. And even then, it's like usually non-disclosure agreements. So this is the other reason why I kind of like Pixowl, because they're kind of not so closed off as a company. They tend to go with the community because they're not that huge, but they're kind of small. Like, they're a good size, let's put it that way. They're medium sized. They're nice. So then I take a look at the new packs that got available. So I got to see that a little bit in there. And yeah, just a little bit more about this whole stuff here. And later on, I just kind of did this. And we get to continue on with the story here, as I told, oh yeah, the new mayor, this stuff has started here, right? Like, the rhyming thing, but then they kind of change it. Oh yeah, has everyone else noticed that bad things happen to the promenade? I had to add somebody to mention that, because it's always funny that everything seems to happen bad in the promenade, so why not mention it? But yeah, it's quite fun indeed to kind of have this be a thing to kind of go like, oh yeah, the promenade, interesting. But yeah, it's certainly weird to see that, you got the main house buildings end up having snow, but not everyone has snow, and not every building has snow, so it kind of makes it feel not 100%, if that makes sense. But Reggie has snow. I made sure of that, so it's not too much snow, but it's snow a little less. And of course the ground is snow, which is nice. We'll never get this ever again, which sucks. And that has something to do with the game's coding and the fact that everything about it just kind of takes too long with certain things. And the other thing too with this menu is I can actually change the time to make it go by an hour quicker, or, you know, certain hours has passed, or give me coins, or give me currency, or I level myself up, for example, for some reason. Yeah, I'll just level myself up because why not? Keep on going. Then, yeah, keep on going. Yeah, keep on going. Yeah, keep on going. Come on, you can do it. Yeah, there it is. More. Yeah, there you go. I didn't know Fifi was level 20. Jeez. God, you can't even play the event real quick until you get to level 20 at least. I mean, you couldn't do it earlier, but not really. Nomatsu's 23. 24. Got that. And 25 gets Jordan. We get our favorite character. And then I clicked on a button. I think I wanted to load something in, but this ended up doing me wrong because it ended up freezing the game. So basically it soft locked itself because it was trying to load something that didn't get to see there. Also, the other weird thing is the ID. As you can see, it changes to like the elements, maps, starts. You know, this stuff here is stuff that you would see in like, here's something interesting. Like, when it comes to video games, especially when it comes on the computer, when you play something, there's like 2 monitors. So what usually ends up happening is that the second monitor has the code. So if there's a bug or something that happens, it will end up showing exactly what caused it. So you can look at it and go, ah, okay. Alright, so I tripled the speed of this. And what's interesting is if you listen to this, it doesn't sound... it sounds completely new, doesn't it? It's interesting. And, you know, it's what it is. But the only reason I speed this up is because this video is long enough, and I don't want you to sit here for, like 3 hours or so, because we're getting close to the 3-hour mark. So I wanted to get this speed up quickly just to kind of show off, and you get the idea. This is just basically looking at everything here. So Chris has a lot of stuff for us, which is nice. You know, for a Christmas character that came back from last year. He actually is here. So we got this one here. Basically, you know, Reggie's quest line, though it's shop till you drop dead. I believe they changed it to Rise of the Krampus, I think. I have to look at it again, because it's been so long. Because I played it and kind of did the video and all that stuff. Oh yeah, and I'm loading myself up with currencies and money. Wow, look at that. Look how much money I've made. Man, it feels like I could do everything I want without having to do anything at all. That feels so great. But yeah, anyways, I got this. Him talking to the mayor or, you know, other people, which is the usual. But yeah, it's interesting stuff indeed. But yeah, this whole video thing, it's interesting, especially with, I'm very, still, I had a helping hand in this, but when it's not like I officially did, oh yeah, and then this was originally what it looked like with her doing this, so yeah, that had to be fixed for sure. That certainly needs to be fixed as far as the editing stuff goes, and they ended up doing that because they fixed the size and everything like that, so, you know. So we got that, and then of course you got the spawn characters to see them, you know, do their thing, which is fun. Yeah. Man, listen to the noises, and you get the screams sounds like mouses, like mouse screeches, squeaking. Like, doesn't it? Yeah, when it goes so triple fast, it sounds like that. The next clip is going to go double speed, so it's not going to be too fast, but it's going to be fast as far. But yeah, again, you already seen this update before. You've seen the revisited special. This is the special feature stuff just to show you certain things of how something like this would be made. So when events are done, or when events are completed before it gets to live, it does stuff like this. So the team can test to make sure everything's working the way it should. There's nothing that needs to be done or edited. And if it does, then they edit and quickly do stuff like that. And then they make sure they upload the files. They test it in-house to make sure the events are working fine. as long as everything's working fine and everything's fine and dandy, then they can go, okay, make it live, right? Because the last thing they want to do is make something live and end up glitching out. We've seen something like this happen before, and that's the last case scenario. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough. And what's interesting about this is that it can actually add like special event currency and stuff of that nature. Also, Reggie is tiny. I don't know why Reggie's so small. That's another thing they had to fix. But you know, baby steps, baby steps. It comes eventually, but not right now. But God, I can only imagine that this is just so. Yeah, and then there's the HorrorTown sign that is now advertising my my event because of the whole you can't switch it around because then it'll look stupid because it'll look mirror mode, and I'm like, all right, because that's what they do, right? So I could do it like that, but then it's stupid because the Goosebumps logo is backwards. God, it's not like The Simpsons where they took their time and care to kind of add 4 different directions, but I digress. But anyways, you got this going on here. Yep, got that done, and then we continue on. I got this, like, with this event, I got my hand to do the fun stuff, and I'm still liking the fact that this was like, although this is not the best update as far as stuff goes, I feel like 2020 kind of rocked that one as far as updates are concerned. And Haunted Halloween is always my favorite just because of the amount of content and stuff they kind of put in there. Namely, basically because of its high-end stuff. But still, regardless, I still love the fact that they actually do this love letter of sorts to kind of show off, like, all this. It just feels nice, like the actual event and scenes and stuff feels like home. The other thing too, why I kind of like the snow version of HorrorTown like this, is because it kind of makes it feel like it's nighttime, doesn't it? It feels a lot darker because of the blues and whatnot. Like, it's not like pure white; it's like blue, so it kind of gives off this impression like it's nighttime, which is what I like because it kind of makes it not only dark, like it makes it darker, like something that fits with the scary, spooky Halloween vibe that they go for. And it's unfortunate that because of the game's age and all the other stuff there, that things like that cannot be seen anymore. Again, it sucks, but I understand. Things happen. But, at least we get snow on the building, so at least it's something Christmassy. It just will look like a post-Christmas area, that's all. And to be fair, there are areas in this town that has snow, so you could just always go over there to be like, Christmas is over here, But still, it's not the same, not the same. I want snow everywhere. I want it to be blue. The world to be blue. Navy blue. But, yeah, whatever. Again, this is the one reason why I like the setting and everything like that and the coldness. So at least my event got to be in snow. So there's that. And yeah, it's other stuff too. And feature-wise, there just a whole lot of stuff that's been going on here. But yeah, I'm just trying to talk about stuff. Yeah, usually stuff like this video clips, I would be able to talk to you about, like, things behind the scenes, but I kind of talked about that earlier, as you saw. So not a lot of fun stuff got to be, like, missed out on and talked about. Though I will say, I do like the fact that you got to see the fact that Seder, Chris, Slappy, and Will had quest lines before that kind of associate with the event. But they didn't get to do anything because, the events and limitations and whatnot, because... my crazy mind, when you had a lot of ideas, you can't do a whole lot, right? So you had to change it slightly. So, but you could see where my mind went, and you kind of have to see the appreciation of me actually going into the game and kind of be like, hey, let's add this here, let's just do this, or like let's make the story fun, but also make it like make sense within the game's lore, right? So it's fun to kind of do something like that here. But yeah, more or less just fun dialogue. Say the same things. This is where they're like, library. Let's go find out what kind of monster he is, because obviously he must be some sort of monster, right? And I tried to make sense, and trying to have it kind of connect to the story in some way. And to be fair, some of the newer quest lines also try to do this as well when it comes to adding items into the games and kind of play through the story. Alright, so then we get to have Mr. Wood be there. Yeah, so then we got that stuff there. So yeah, I changed it so Mr. Wood would be like the front and face, because he had to cut a lot of stuff out, so I had to just make the player realize that Mr. Wood had something to do with this. So again, more of the story. And what's interesting is that you saw the Mayfield story had 3 parts, but if you notice, there was 4 parts. So the fourth area ended up being something that they ended up making on their own. Hence why it made no sense with Slappy being there out of nowhere with the money's comment. Because, again, you know, it's what it was. But the other thing that I thought was interesting was the last quest, as you saw, with Mayfield running out of town and basically Slappy giving Mr. Wood a present. That was originally for the last thing, but they changed that to have it be the last for the Reggie quest line. So it's just weird. Oh yeah, this the humbug that ruined Christmas. And then of course this line here: "What Santa gives, Krampus takes away." Yes, that's a quote from the Krampus movie. Okay, yes, it's not like the only thing I took from Krampus. Oh, and then there's the line: "Oh, get this crazy backpack off of me." No hand in that, apparently. That was just something they added, but it made sense. Alright. But yeah, as you can see, if not all the dialogue that I did before, all of them was still intact. So only like minor few things got changed, and things got cut. But most of it is still say the same. Oh yeah, the whole Mr. Piccolo play thing. Oh, poor Mr. Piccolo. You got dirtied again. Oh, God. That's got to be a meme running to the ground like twice, and then he finally gets to the 3rd time, and yet he struck out. So, you know, I thought that was funny narrative-wise, that was what we ended up doing. And like I said, the story for the Phantom of the Auditorium was actually done by what do you call it? The Erasmo, who is a fan of the game, but also associate as well in some cases. So he ended up getting a hand in it too, which is fun. And I think I mentioned that during that time in Questline too. But, you know, I had some, like, I'm still in contact with some of the teams there, especially the directors for this particular game and others. But it's interesting that you don't really get to, like, there's not really much as involvement as I was in the previous ones. So, although it's like, yeah, it's kind of cool to kind of have myself do something like this, again, the likelihood of something like that happening, very rare. Oh yeah, and the layering, by the way, not the best, but you can see what I was trying to do is have the hand come out of the house. So, yeah. So those are the 2 things that having difficulties, because the backpack and the goggles don't exist, right? They're not in the shops, so that was one of the problems. But then when it was in the shop, another issue came up, which I'll show off. But yeah, here's the monster form, which I love, by the way. He looks so derpy with the presents shaking around, being like, "Ooh, what do I get?" You know, yay. Just what I asked for, which we don't. I didn't describe what it was because that's a joke, right? So, anyways, yeah. So this is the thing. He added this whole thing. So this was new. That was not something I added, but it makes sense, right, to add it. So he had 1 line or so, but again, you got to see where my mind was at originally. So what happens if I tried skipping it? Glitched. It soft locked. So let's go back to the game again, but this time 20%. So, there you go. Still got this going on here. So, yeah, so it won't be too long, but it's still a little bit lengthy. So, you know, again, game sounds weird, especially when you speed it up or slow it down. It sounds like a totally different game, doesn't it? Like, even the music is kind of, like, new, almost. Or it feels like it. But anyways, got this going on here. What else? Oh yeah, and I got the land back, or the something happened to kind of reset the road there, at least. I'm not sure what I was doing here at the time, because again, this is taking place 3 years ago, and I wasn't really talking or recording anything, so it's kind of hard to think what Pasgrim was doing at this time. He might have been busy, he might have been preoccupied real quick there, but anywho. Yeah, so we got this stuff going on here on the sides as well. So that's that. Let's see here. Yeah, so again, and this was when the special books wasn't even here, so, you know. We got that. So, what else? What else? Some other fun stuff indeed. But, yeah, eventually we'll get done to this gameplay stuff, and we'll continue off. But, yeah, I guess in hindsight I should have cut this a little bit down, but, you know. Again, this is me revisiting some of this stuff too in this footage. This is interesting because this was just a commentary over, like, what I did. Because I was also curious, also curious too what's going on here. So yeah, just skipping all this stuff again. Because I want to get to... And yeah, so they updated again. No, not really. So, still this is not there. Or the other thing. So they end up going to fix that at some point. But, yeah, so then we, can unlock, we can do certain quests or certain events if we really wanted to. In this case, it's a shop till you drop dead. And, got this going on here. It's new. Right, so let's put Reggie down again. Oh, look at the houses. So, yeah, you know what I think this is? I think I loaded in a preset town already unlocked because I was curious. Yeah, like a level 50, just to see. And apparently, some of these land here you can buy with... it didn't end up becoming the case, by the way, but still, it's kind of like, ooh. Oh god, the price. That's too much, man. Gotta love the ice on the water as well, so that's fun. But, yeah. I got that going on there, too. Click on some money. Not like it matters, because, you know, I could get more if I want to. But I digress. Oh, god. Right. So, more of the special bug features. This is the only interesting thing. So nothing there for that option. They got some stuff here. New event start end. Oh yeah, add more currency. More currency for money. Because we need that. And then also coins. And there's also unlocking packs. So if you ever want to test a pack or what it looks like, you can always click on this and it'll pop it up. If you're ever curious. So like even old packs from during the events. So you can see this is all of them as of right now. So you can only imagine how much they released over the years. So, geez. And then they're also numbered too. So, you know. So again, Magic Pack, for example. Click on that. So that's now unlocked. Then we got over here. Yeah, Circus Pack. Yeah, so we got that there going on here. I think all the characters... No, not all the characters were unlocked. Again, it's interesting loading up a map that's pre-made. And then I'm just curious, Science Pack, so that's what it looks like. As you can see, nothing unique. What else here? Let's see. Going to the packs again just to see. horror day's not over, so I get to see this as well. So that's interesting. All right, and I think they also test. I don't know if the shop thing is kind of like doesn't exist during this time. As far as like working in the beta stuff goes, it's possible, but I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, got this going on here, and yeah, Crosby, got Conrad, yeah. We also got the disc jockey. We got Slappy. Yeah, so again, it's just re-looking at a pre-loaded town, what it can look like, and that's just so they're able to, again, the purpose of it is to repurpose if there's a bug particularly hurting, say, people at a certain level or something like that. If they able can replicate it, tell the team that so they can fix it or change it before it gets released. So in some cases, cut it and outright. So anyways, things go back to normal as far as voice stuff goes. So that's fun. Finally, the backpack got added, so that's nice. And they got the coal, as well as the shop to drop hypnotizers. So that's also here. So that's great. So now I can continue in testing the event. So it's nice that they finally added this, but yeah, not fun. They had to use the coal in order to unlock it for what he decided. So yeah, and you needed the other scene too, so that was not fun. So give me the backpack. That works just fine, but there's something that doesn't work just fine. So again, let me just do this because why not? Because I got 6,000. I could still continue if I want to. Yeah. But now it's done. And then I actually skipped the other stuff, which is interesting. So anyways, the sniff. So this is where the strong sex coming from. And it goes, hey Reggie, there's a present. Oh boy. Must be from father. Alright, and then he's like, what the? The pop-in stuff there. I still love the dialogue I ended up making for this. It's so fun. Especially a nod to the books as well. Also, I love the fact they put the present here. This one, I think this present was from... correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was maybe from... I don't think it's Snoopy. I think it was Wonder Park. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, this is the only exclusive weird kind of pop-in stuff we got. So, interesting, but... still, kind of like weird to see that popping in there, because they kind of make it unique, but we never got to see any more there. But it fits with the presents because of the colors, pinks and whatnot. To fit with this guy. But yeah, got this going on here. Handshake, giggling, laughing. You are ticklish. You're like a tickle me Elmo. Did I just buy a bunch of cardboard? Yes, you did. Just to show you that this whole thing is just fake. Whoa, what am I? I can't remember. Ew, what am I wearing? And I think this dialogue was changed a bit. It's like, what's this bill doing on I spent how much? Where is the manager? Going full Karen. And then it's like, attention shoppers, all complaints, returns, follow the laughter of the owner as he ripped you suckers up big time. Have a nice day. So this is something I ended up changing as far as the dialogue goes. So there you go. And then we got this, play the tavern scene, place the big refund, which is the final item for this quest line. So, hee hee, you little brats, I'll make you regret the day you made me look like an idiot. Alright, so then we go over here. Yeah, if I can click. Hey, there he is. The townspeople are not happy. We demand our money back now, you snake-oiler salesman. You single-handedly ruined Christmas. You never nerve, keeping me away from my family on Christmas. Everyone, let's give Krampus the super joy holiday fright of his life. Marr. Alright, and then yay, it's done. So the main quest line is done. But not Reggie's. Reggie's still continuing for some reason. And there's a problem with Reggie. And is it basically... Oops, it glitched again. Ooh, that doesn't work. Don't know why, but it doesn't work. And here's something stupid too. If I try crafting this, right? Alright, so I craft this. Alright, now let me collect it. Let's see what happens. Soft locked. Oh no, what happened there? Oh god, it's glitched. I ended up actually getting all this just to test just something. So I got all this stuff. The hard pack backpack is working fine. Now it's telling me where it gets it, which is good. So now I get to put this over here. And there's some other random town I don't have access to. But yeah, finally, yay, look at that, we got it. 5 days. And earlier in the year 2020, I ended up starting to show you after the end. It's like, hey, you completed the event, or oops, yeah, here's your last chance to get the item, right? Well, lucky for you, I actually did get it. I'm actually going to show you it. Hey, look, this is what it looks like when you win. You won the seasonal event. This is what it looks like. You might be curious what happens when you don't win. And I'll show you that near the end here. But, yeah, so I'm like, oh, the event's over. That's weird. Let me try that again. Let me start this. Yeah, it's like, okay. Oh, you won. Yep. So, the test was done. They've done what they wanted. So, the event's no longer live. So, then we continue on with this. Yep. 25 days to test this button because they wanted to see how well this looked. And it looks pretty good. I like that. Wording and everything looks fine. And yeah, the event's still not there because again, they done their testing with what they needed to do for that. They just wanted to see the pop-up for that stuff. And again, I tried to do this here. Shop to drop. Yep. Oh, you won. Yep. But you might be curious what happens if you lose. Well, again, this is in the beta, so I have no idea of what happens when you actually lose. What's the like how much it's supposed to be. But let's take a look at this in a file that I didn't get the prize, just a curiosity. By the way, this was all taken by the 12th. Oh, darn! You didn't win. You want to get it for $0? Sure. Why not? All right, let's put this down. All right, let's put this down. Uh-oh, you need this much currency. this much in-house currency. Uh-oh. 548 in money. I don't have enough. Oh, right, oops. Couldn't do that. Alright, because I haven't done it, so I didn't get to do it. Except, let me change that. Let me add some currency. Let me add some money to my bank. Give me a sec. If I can find it. Yeah, so do this. Oh, now I need this much currency. Ooh, okay. Let's see if it works. Let's see if I can glitch this. Buy now. No, I still can't. So, let me go ahead and add some money to the bank. Let's test this out. Alright, let's do this. Yeah, more money. Money. Alright, there we go. That's enough. So let's try this again. Event. Start it. Yeah, start end. Shop to drop. Oh, darn, I didn't get it. Let's do this. Put it down. Spend this much? Yes. Now it's done. Yay, I got it. Yep, in the spirit of the Christmas tree. So if you're curious, let's try it again. Just to make sure if it actually recognizes it. So start again. If I can click it. Yep, there. And done. There you go. And that, folks, is the end to this whole event. This whole special feature stuff. Again, this is probably a one-off. This will never happen again. If it does happen again, then that will be a surprise to me. But yeah, you get to see the back ends of stuff, and hope you enjoyed the little extra features of what this event could have been and all that stuff and more. But I digress. Anyways, I'll see you next time for whatever Goosebumps HorrorTown has in store. Until then, happy holidays, and I'll see you in the new year. Happy Christmas.